In the morning, you got me up all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, this kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say, we gon' be okay, we just gotta boom bada boom ba. I don't wanna fight, you know that I'm right. Baby, let me talk to your body. We gon' be okay, hear me when I say.
What happens when a man defers power to a woman without expecting anything in return? In recent news, the Jada Pinkett-Will Smith fiasco have been a major indicator that most men have been conditioned to be unconscious and conscious simps. And because of that, when that happens, a man really loses the power that he necessarily needs to run that relationship. Will Smith have been seen as being soft and weak in the YouTube space and also in the media because it appears that his wife is emasculating him mentally. And I want to share something with you guys that there are two different types of imprints. Men are normally imprinted mentally first, and women are imprinted through sex mostly. And it appears that Jada Pinkett has been thugged out because she's still dealing with the ghost of TUPAC Shakur. And also it appears that Will Smith had been imprinted because he feels like he could never reach her standards or meet up to the expectations of Jada Smith. And Jada Smith is the typical alpha widow. She's been with an alpha male, a dominant man that's imprinted her. And regardless of what Will Smith do, he'll never meet her expectations. We're going to understand the psychology behind being thugged out. Is Jada Pinkett an alpha widow? Is Will Smith unconscious or conscious simp? And also, we're going to talk about how men think as it relates to psychology when it comes down to understanding the things that women have done in the past, because men in general want a woman that's virtuous. And it becomes anxious for a man where he feels like he had to compete with her past because he feels like he can never meet her standards and expectations. We're going to talk about from a show that I did with my man El Guapo, and we're going to look at the penetration principle and how that impacts a man mentally and also a woman. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this show as I bring it to you live from the greatest state in the union, the Tar Heel State. And I want you guys to remember this. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. There are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become an optimized male. Understanding female psychology and understanding how that psychology impacts him as a man mentally and physically from a psychosomatic response is paramount to the efficacy of a man. Be well. Get your notes ready, guys, because I'm about to drop some fire for your mind. This show is going to be epic. It will be a short show because I'm going to be in the sky in a few. I'll be flying out the country. I'm going to be bringing you guys content even though I'm going to be out of the country. But this show is epic because it shows the power that many men are struggling with when they give their power to women that are not worthy of it. So get your notes ready. I need you to inhale the good, exhale the bad, because that's a healthy coping mechanism. So get ready as I'm about to drop some fire for your mind, because this is a manhood chronicle concerning Will Smith. Get ready. Bringing it to you live once again from the greatest state in the union, the Tar Heel State, where the topography is serene, pristine, and verdant green, where every day is Father's Day. and where manhood is part of hills and valleys, victories and failures. And whereas men, we don't agree on all things or ideologies, but tonight we come together as allies of a common cause only to dissipate once the crisis is over. Now listen, I'm about to drop some fire for your mind. But before I drop that fire, let's explore why we are doing the Manhood Chronicles. Listen, there's been a lot of consternation in the media here recently about this Jada Smith Will Pickett fiasco. And because of that, men are beginning to see that most modern women are not worth investing in. They're not investing in because many have been damaged mentally because they've been thugged out. And as the woman has been thugged out physically, the man has been thugged out mentally because many are dealing with an alpha widow. We're going to talk about the alpha widow, and we're going to ask ourselves the question, has Jada Pickett been influenced by an alpha widow? An alpha widow is a woman that has been with an alpha male, and once that alpha male leaves her, she's constantly chasing for the pursuits of the feelings that she had with that alpha male. Men in the past didn't have to deal with that because the sexual liberation movement gave women the power to do what they wanted to do. And I'm not against it. You do what you want to do. But there are consequences for men and women when they do things that are not necessarily productive and beneficial for them long term. That's why I believe the men in the marriage race are suffering. But the question remains, and I want you guys to ask yourselves the question because I want you guys to take notes. Is Will Smith an unconscious simp? If he is an unconscious simp, I want you guys to hit 1. The unconscious simp stands for supplementing irrational male patterns. Because watch this, guys, because we know that manhood is a series of hills and valleys, victories and failures. A man would not allow Jada Smith to do the things that she's doing to him. A man wouldn't allow that. A masculine man would not allow a woman to continue to denigrate him in the media. And Jada Smith appears to be getting a kick out of this because she appears to have what's called narcissistic traits. So the question remains, is Will Smith dealing with a woman that's an alpha widow? Is he dealing with the ghost of TUPAC Shakur? Is Jada Smith controlling that relationship? And it's possible because she is a Scorpio. And is it viable for a man to deal with most modern women? Not all, because it appears that they have been imprinted. And if a woman's been imprinted by a thug or a high-value white-collar man, it's hard for her to get that imprint out of her mind. And when a man is dealing with a woman that has been imprinted, it causes him to have anxiety because he realizes that he can never meet that potential of that woman. That's why you shouldn't even deal with it, because it's a waste of your time. I've told you guys before in the past that power never conceded to anything without a struggle. It never have, and it never will. And see, and what you guys are seeing is a lot of brokenness. You're dealing with a woman that had a very, raunchy past. And, it appears that she has been alpha widow. That's why I have the spider, like a black widow. And now what she's doing, she's putting poison into Will Smith. So we're going to look at a show that I did with my man, El Guapo. And then also we're going to talk about the show from a famous YouTube content creator called Better Bachelor that I listen to from time to time. And I want you guys to ask yourself the question, is Jada Smith, has she been imprinted by bad men like, TUPAC Shakur, August, the young man she was dealing with? Is Will Smith a sucker for allowing it, even though he said they have an open relationship? It's obvious that he is impacted by how she's treating him. And are you guys dealing with women that have been impacted by dusty men? Because see, we don't have any problem on my YouTube channel calling out dusty men, because there are some dusty men, but it's not all men. I would say there are more decent men than there are dusty men, and I stand on that. So we're going to look at this clip that I had with my man El Guapo real fast, and I want you guys to take notes because we're going to understand the psychology behind a man when it comes down to the open box principle the penetration principle, and the Matthew Henson principle. They are all principles that men internally don't say anything about, but many times it does bother them. Because many times some don't think that, playing around is okay, but men, masculine, dominant men are very territorial over their women. So I want you guys to listen to this show I did with Guapo, and then we're going to talk about the effects of the alpha widow. Hold tight, guys. Hold tight. I'm about to drop some fire for your mind. Now, to the guys that are listening, please share the content. Get the likes up. I need you guys to get all the likes up. Share this content because we don't want any young man to be suffering in silence. We don't want any young man to be suffering in silence. All right, so this is the show that I did with my man Guapo. I want you guys to listen, and we're going to take some notes.
Yet you kind of you are benefiting from that slavery. Right. To the ladies, you may not have personally made that shift, even though that's going to be a hard argument to make with social media and stuff like that, and the days of Tinder and everything. But you are complicit to your gender. I will say that. Right. So, can you get into the three examples you just gave? The penetration principle and stuff. Right. I'm gonna shut up.
So we're gonna talk about all three. And when I broach this topic, some get it and some don't get it. But let's look at the sexes, right? So men by nature struggle with the thought of another man penetrating a woman that he cares about.
Yes.
Because in his mind, she's been conquered. And in his mind, he's seen images of her, scratching a man and grabbing a man. But watch this. It's a reverse dynamic to it. A man don't really care as much if he found out his woman had a bisexual relationship. He doesn't struggle with that as much. He might not like it, but he doesn't struggle with it as much. But on the flip side, because it is a reverse dynamic, because the sexes are not. And guys, understand that once again, it's different. Most guys don't care. They don't care as much if a woman has been with another woman because she hasn't been penetrated. It doesn't really bother him as much. Now, if you're a religious man, it might bother you, but to most men, they can get by a little bit. She's hot. She had a bisexual relationship. It's not going to bother him as much. But on the flip side, most women, I would say damn near at least 95% of women cannot be with a man, especially sisters, a man that's been entered by another man. They can't handle it because that man has been conquered and penetrated. Now, you might say it's different, but it's not different because the penetration principle applies for both men and women. Men don't like to have the thought of their woman being penetrated by multiple men, and a woman can't have the thought of her man being penetrated by another man. People say it's a double standard. Well, it's a double standard for both sexes. And I know it's bothering Will Smith. You saw the man cry at the red table because he's dealing with a very violent and very contentious woman. Keep listening. Not congruent and or symmetrical. Most women can't handle the fact of a man being penetrated by another man. Am I talking right? That's why many women are repelled if a man said, I've had a sexual liaison, because a woman wants to look up to her man. He's a king. But when that woman's mind, if that man was in a submissive position to another man, it's like a diminished, his power is being diminished. So how can she look up to him if he's had sex with another man? Her mind can't handle that. That's why most women, I've known women go out there with lesbians themselves, and they said they won't deal with a man that had a sexual liaison with another man. Well, on the flip side, because it's a reverse dynamic, because the sex is not congruent, he can't have the thought of another man entering his woman, because in his mind, he's the only one that's supposed to knock on that door. It's crazy how we're wired, but this is how we're wired.
That is such a good analogy, bro. Right. And I've never thought about it like
Dr. Drew Pinsky talked about that in the past. Dr. Drew talked about it. And see, the sexual liberation movement, as I said, a woman has a right to do what she wants to do, and a man too. Do what you want to do, but it's a consequence for your behavior. And Dr. Drew talked about that. He talked about how men are wired. We are wired not to have thoughts of other men touching the women that we love or the woman we plan to marry. And see, in fair exchange, there's no robbery. And the exchange in the past was virtue. And listen, I'm not saying a woman got to be the Mother Teresa. I'm not saying she got to be perfect. I'm not saying that. But at the end of the day, the less damage she's had from dealing with dusty, thugged out men, the better that relationship can be. Because a man, when he's walking with his woman, want to have somebody he can look up to somebody he said, I'm proud, that's my woman. That's my queen. He don't want to go anywhere and the guy look at him and start laughing. He said, yo, that's you? Because men by nature are territorial And that woman symbolizes his pride. Keep listening.
That.
Right.
But if you ever want to explain to a woman why it bothers a man, so who's in the news right now? I don't know if you've been following this Brittany Renner thing and stuff like that. And she's constantly talking about she shouldn't be judged for her past and the number of men that she slept with and stuff like that. But boy, if you pose it like that, and you have the man on man, and how a woman views that.
And you're right, Duncan, right. She got penetrated in her mind. The first step of penetration before it gets to the physical is in the mind. Women are stimulated through their ear gate. That's how they're stimulated. Men tend to get stimulated mostly through their eye gate. And so Eve was stimulated through her ear gate. Therefore, she listened to the serpent. That's why guys with game and PUA is so powerful, because they know how to stimulate a woman mentally. And that's why a lot of times men lie. Ladies, I need you to listen. Men will lie to get between your legs. Many times they don't care about you. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. And so when good men like myself try to tell you the truth because we care about you, some of you fight the power. You fight it because you're not used to the kosher truth. And that's why I do these shows. I try to be unapologetic in how I do it. I try to be respectful, but because I am a very honest guy, you know, I don't live by the zodiac, but I am a Leo. Leos are brutally honest. And so many women have been penetrated mentally first. That's why many times in dating, a woman said, girl, he said something I didn't like. And as soon as that woman say something that man said that she didn't like, she'll cut that man off. But on the flip side, because men are penetrated through their eyes, that woman can say something stupid, but she got a nice body, that man can still have sex with her. Keep listening.
Yeah, that's woo. Clip that, put it on your channel. I'm gonna clip it and put it on mine too. That
yeah. I'm gonna definitely clip it.
That is dope. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, keep rolling. What about the open box?
So the open box. Okay, so you know, Rob, you're a bright man. It's something called the law of diminishing return, right? And so watch this. So just imagine, you know, because you got your brain was I was thinking just like you, Best Buy. So say if you get a box, right? And you know, we use box to talk about you know, a woman's, you know, vagina. We use the word box.
Mm-hmm.
But think about a box. And so say if you go to Best Buy to get a box, you open that box up one time, right? And then you put the box back on the shelf. Every time you open that box, or somebody that comes behind you and open that box, guess what happens? The product actually diminishes. It's not as valuable because that box has not only been opened, but if they take the product out and sample it, then the person is saying, I'm not going to pay full price for a product that's been tampered with. And that's how some men feel about, you know, when you talk about the whole paying all bills. There are some men that say, I'm not paying all the bills for a woman that's had a lot of fun. Most men say, I'll pay all the bills for, you know, it's almost like based on percentage. If she's a virgin, she gets 100%. If she got, say, 10, she might get 80% or whatever. But the point is, for every partner she get, her stock goes down precipitously. That's sexual market value. Yeah. And so what men are saying is that, look, I'm not paying full price if you've had a lot of fun, you know, because in that man's mind, what's special about it? It's not special about it. And so that's why men are so repelled by it. And see, what women don't understand is that their greatest virtue back in the past was their femininity. But then you look at the Bible in Titus 3:5, it said, women be chaste and be honorable and obedient to your husbands. And so when a woman is at her best, then she'll put it in a way that the man can be at his best. If he's a masculine man, if he's a simp or a beta male, they don't care. They'll take anything. You know, they're scavengers.
Right. And see, guys, that's what's happened to a lot of our women. At one point, Black women were more conservative than any other ethnic group of women. Black women traditionally are very conservative. They didn't do things that other women did because Black women saw it as being disgusting. And see, that's what happens when you have liberal indoctrination. That's what happens. You get influenced through your ear gate. That's why a lot of times these liberal schools have influenced women through their ear gate. And many, because they don't have the proper reasoning and guidance from their fathers, they are deceived. And that's why I do these shows, because I want to see our women win. But I also want to see our men not concede in their power. Because just like women have a right to say what they want, men have a right to say, this is what I want as well. I don't have an issue with a woman saying she don't want a man that's broke. She don't want a man that's, you know, dusty or whatever, or too short. You know, that's her right. I don't get mad at women for that because a woman has a right to say that. But don't get mad at a man when don't get mad at a man when he say, I don't want a woman that's overweight, kids by multiple men, and she been ran through. Because men now are beginning to up their standards up. Now listen, guys, this show is going to be very good. I need you guys to hit the all notification buttons. If you have not donated, hit the super chat, but also donate to Cash App $7Smalls. I'm going to be out of the country on tomorrow. I'll be flying out, and I will be in Frustrated 3. We will be celebrating the birth of Charles Tyler. So I still probably will be doing content while I'm out of the country because I love to see you guys win, and I love to see you guys with a smile on your face. So I want you guys to share the content, hit the super chat button, and I also hit Cash App $7Smalls. This will be a short show because I got to get ready to go at some point. But I want to keep giving you guys good content, so keep listening.
If they're high value men, like
bargain hunters,
right? They're bargain hunters. I remember my granddad told me, "Guap," he was a country boy, and he said, "Look, if you see a dog, his tail is as long as my arm," he said he ain't worth a damn. So what my granddad was basically saying, it's not a pedigree dog, it's a mutt. So a mutt is synonymous to a simp. You know, he doesn't have any prevailing values or principles. But a pedigree dog is very different. Pedigrees want the best. And so every time that box is opened up and that product is taken out and been tampered with, the value diminishes. Because you know what I'm talking about. When you go to Best Buy, they'll give you a discount.
They will give you a discount.
They're going to give you a discount. But see, well, some, not all, shout out to the good women, because I'm not here to condemn the sisters. I love you guys. But shout out, but we're trying to give you guys some raw truth into how men really think. But many want taxation, Guap, without representation. They want taxation without representation. They want to tax the American male, but they don't want to represent him in a way that he feels honored. And so the American man wants to feel honored, but he doesn't feel honored because he's being taxed, but he's not getting a high return on his investment. And so that's why a lot of guys are saying, what's special about it? Sex now has become so easy to men, it lost its value. The first time, Guap, you and I probably saw a porn magazine. We saw some pubic hairs and breasts. Our minds were warped, you know, because it was something that was hidden. It was mysterious. But there's no mystery to it now. So if you see a naked body, you don't really trip as much as maybe you did the first time you saw your friend. Am I right or wrong?
You're absolutely right.
The more naked bodies you see, you don't, it's like whatever. You don't even take it serious.
I call it the diminishing return.
It's a diminishing return, right? It's the law of diminishing return. So right.
Wow. Real fast, let me catch this because I didn't want to lose it. I left it up. KP from KC5, $2. Where is your book, Kosher? Great stuff, man. I agree with him. I think you need to put some of this down.
Right. Well, you know, I probably do. You know, I need to get everything penned and copyrighted because, you know, in these YouTube streets, folks take the concept. And look, shout out to the lead attorney. I stole his thumbnail.
Is he? Oh.
I was playing. Man.
Yeah,
we always joke about that.
Y'all joke. I'm glad y'all got past that though. I saw it. I ain't gonna lie, Casey. I was like, this looks like. I was like, is this lead attorney shit? It happens, man. Let me tell you something. Lead. I'm gonna say this. Let me say something to the lead. And he might beat me up about this, but lead imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Right.
There you go, man.
Right.
I get it though, because I hate making these thumbnails, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, man. I call it thumbnail reciprocity, man. But,
right,
because technically you can't steal nobody's thumbnail. You can't steal it. You can imitate it, and you can say, "Oh, I like some concept," but you can't physically steal a thumbnail. It's not digitally. You can't do it. But shout out to the lead attorney. Much love to that.
Shout out to the lead attorney. He is killing the game, man.
He's
killing the game. He was over on Lapeef today with Lauren.
Oh yeah,
She was all smiles too, bro.
A phenomenal couple, man.
He knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah, he knows what he's doing. He got that. Listen. That Pisces swag. But go ahead.
Before we go to the third one, let me ask you a question. You're up to take some calls. Yes?
Yes. Sir.
Okay, perfect. So, team, let me give you some marching orders before we do this. I have a lot of respect for our guests. We are going to keep it classy tonight. I'm about to drop the link so you guys can get in the queue. We are going to keep it classy. I will bring people up as I see fit. I will tell you this. I know that I'm suited and booted. I came right from work, so I apologize for not being in the collar. But what I'll tell you is get yourselves ready, get on, and have something succinct to say. You're dealing with a literal, oh my God, oh my goodness. You're dealing with a literal expert. A senior, KC over here, splurging his degrees in wisdom. Strong, thumbs up, peace. I can help you get an ebook together. Oh, look at, see this, man, this is why I love this space.
No doubt.
I can help you get an ebook.
And guys, this was a prior conversation that Guapo and I had, but I had to do this show and to bring things back to your cognitions because this is one of the issues that a lot of men struggle with in silence. Men by nature are very territorial. The more masculine he is, the more territorial that he is. Doesn't mean that he's insecure, because he's not insecure, because masculine men can get a woman. But when a man really loves a woman, he don't want to have the thought of no other man touching his woman. That's how we're wired. Keep listening.
Ebook together in exchange for membership from both of you guys, mentorship from both of you guys.
Oh yeah, it would be an honor.
Bruh, I'm down. I have 3 book ideas.
Right.
A senior, do me a favor. Can you please send me an email? And Kosher and I, we have each other's phone numbers.
Right.
So I will put us all together in an email chain and we can talk it out. Absolutely. So if you look at my description, or Gail, if you have my email, you could drop it in the chat. I would greatly appreciate it. A senior sponsor in the lead for today. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Civil technician DeBerry, $4.99. Great show. Men have value. Men's needs matter.
Right.
Very true.
Right.
Very true.
Right. They do matter. And I think the reason why a lot of men are aborting relationships, is because many have told them that their needs don't matter. That's why, when I traveled abroad, first time out of the country, and when I traveled abroad, from an anthropological perspective, because I'm going to be in Frustrated 3, me and Dr. Ron Neal.
Right.
But that's why I was so impressed by how the raw femininity, almost like raw cane sugar. I mean, everything is organic, no GMOs. Yep. They are conditioned to treat their men with honor and respect. And it's unfortunate that a lot of men in this country don't get the honor and respect that they want. And what a lot of our women don't understand, a woman should be a man's cheerleader. She should be his cheerleader. Just like when I played basketball, we had the cheerleaders would be over there saying R-E, R-E-B, R-E-B-O-U-N-D, rebound, get it. A man needs his woman to be his rebound, like you call it, a feminine amplifier.
Absolutely.
And so when she amplified that man, similar to what God said, if I be lifted up, I draw men unto me. So when she amplified the essence of that man is drawn closer to her, and he's more willing to slay the dragon. But I keep telling our women, y'all got more power than y'all realize. We're not talking about dumb men, but if you know how to really harness that true femininity, we're not talking about fake femininity. We're not talking about synthetic femininity, or what I call acculturated femininity, where I'll be feminine based on the price. We're just talking about being genuinely feminine, and it's powerful. Just like I think the young lady Amira Exile on the Lapeef channel.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, her femininity, and Lauren, both are very feminine, man.
Off
very
the chain.
Feminine. Off the chain. Gail is feminine. Shout out to Gail.
And Gail, I'm gonna say something about Gail in a second, but I don't want to miss this.
Right, go ahead, brother. 2
of my favorite YouTubers, Blind Guy, his wife, their life, $10. Shout out to the panel and the lead attorney as we're in between meetings. Let me tell you something. This couple blessed me and allowed me on their show this past Friday, and we had such a great conversation. You want to talk about a fantastic production.
Shout out to my dear friend TJ Randolph for the $10 super chat. Thank you, dear. We're going to get this show cranking. I'm glad you're having fun during the trucker life. Thank you, dear, for the $10 super chat. You get an applause for that. And we're going to have this show continue to crank in a minute. And you guys can get the gist of what I'm trying to say about the Thug imprint, because many have been imprinted. So shout out again to TJ Randolph. Thank you, dear. And to the others that have not donated, please share the channel if you have not. Please share this content with at least 5 people. Thank you.
Fantastic. I can't say enough about them. You want to have fun watching a show? Go right now and subscribe to Blind Guy, his wife, their life. They have a treasure trove of great content, and their stuff is so much fun. I love them. Absolutely love them. Thank you so much for your generous super chat. We got 2 we got to get through real fast. Snuggles 668. Hey Snuggles, why would men's needs matter? Snuggles, you always make me translate what you're saying. Hang on, let me see on my phone. So what I think you're trying to say is, why would men's needs matter? Didn't man that give woman all the power and expect the nature of chaos to bring order, or did I get that wrong?
Shout out to my man Uncle Stu for the $5 super chat. Uncle Stu said that be blessed and safe travels, or I'll reach out to you to come on my show. Much respect to you. No, much respect to you, brother. Much love and blessings. And I will be on your show at some point when I get back in the States. But much love to you, Uncle Stu, man. Thank you, brother. We need brothers like you and the older brothers to try to steer these young men in the right direction. And shout out to my man Millennial Dad for the $5 super chat. He said, at Coach, the manosphere needs you, brother. You bring something unique and necessary to this space. Salute to you. No, salute to you guys. I love you guys that are constantly watching my content. And this is a small channel, but we seek to grow it to epic proportion. And it takes the loyal, faithful listeners like you to keep this movement going. So keep listening, and we'll show you guys another clip at some point. Then we're going to have a live discussion, okay?
Snuggles, don't send another super chat, but write that out again, because I want to answer that question. I just don't quite understand this with you, Coach. Like I was telling you, I actually got to get back to work.
Okay,
after
cool.
we get off here. But hey, we're here for the team.
Right, no doubt.
Okay. Call in, be presentable.
So
Right.
if it's already been conquered, it's not valuable about it. So he felt validated because he conquered. Remember this, the masculine is doing, right? The feminine is being. That's why when the sperm and the egg comes together, the sperm is action, is being, but the egg is just doing, it waits for the instruction of the sperm. It sits and waits.
Man, y'all go get a consultation. Bars, yo. See, I keep quotes. I'm taking notes in my own show.
No doubt.
Bars.
Right.
The sperm is moving.
Right. It's
action. Waiting.
It's waiting.
The masculine is doing. Man.
The feminine is being. It must be. And sometimes
I'm stealing all of this, bro.
Sometimes, Guapo, that can be good and bad, because sometimes we see the men as human doings and the woman is human beings. And so basically what it means is, see the man as a tool. Dr. T.S. Johnson talked about a term called the concusert. It's a term that means concubine. He's made to be a concubine and a servant. Well, I created a term called the commodification of subjugation as it relates to solipsism. That's a negative connotation that basically means that some women all see men as a commodity to be used to serve her. But a woman should see a man as the commodification of glorification, meaning she see him as a commodity to be galvanized or sharpened so he can be the best version of himself. When a woman galvanizes a man, he becomes the best version of himself. But when she see him as just a commodity, over time he burns out. That's why you see men, they die off early. because just like, and listen, it's art imitating life. And it's not a beautiful lie, it's the truth.
It's the truth.
When you think about sperm cell, guess what? Over time, the fastest swimmers actually die off. And then the latent sperm actually are the girls. The boys are the fast swimmers, they die off.
Right.
But the latent swimmers are the girls. So just like art imitating life, the sperm actually dies off because it's constantly moving. And so, like Teddy Pendergrass said, the Mona Lisa, you are my inspiration. A man needs a woman every now and then to create that melange, right? I call it the melange, an amalgamation, where they get together as a team and they have what's called soul fusion.
Okay.
They get together as a team that has soul fusion, and she complements his masculinity. He's her weakness. He is her weakness, and she is his strength. She is his strength, but he's also her weakness. And I call it symmetry, or yin and yang, And so that's what men need. Men want women. They want good feminine women. They want cooperative women. They want women not being impacted by a lot of men. Because masculine men don't want to have the thought of multiple men touching some of their value.
Amen.
Just like our car. Why you didn't we call our car Guap? You remember back in high school?
Your girl.
We call it our girl, right? Because it's a pearl of great cost. It's something we value.
I don't even let men on my grill.
Right.
Real talk. I don't let the only person male that has ever touched one of my grills is my pops. And he was.
Shout out to Drago's Flame for the $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. Much love and blessings. Thank you, guys. I love you guys. And shout out to my man, my dear friend TJ Randolph, and she's right. Because it's important to have your cognitions awakened, because if your cognitions are not awakened, you can't see things for what it is. So I'm about to hit you guys with some fire for your mind. Fire for your
Fire
mind. Because you
for
need
your
to be
mind.
awakened to see the thinking
culture,
errors that so many
cognition.
have. Many have thinking errors. Shout out to Amber Renee. Thank you, sweetie. That was a great explanation. And that's why I do what I do, guys, because I want to see you ladies win, because some of you ladies have been compromised through liberal policies. And I want the men to win because I want the men to demand respect in relationship. I want the guys to demand respect in relationships. So, and that's what I seek to do, is to bring balance. I seek to bring balance because balance is very important. Now, I want you guys to keep taking notes. Thank you for the guys that have been donating. I love you guys. I want you guys to keep taking notes. I want you guys to ask yourself the question once again. I want you to ask yourself the question once again. Has Jada Pinkett Smith been thugged out physically and mentally? Have Will Smith been thugged out mentally because he's dealing with the penetration principle and the thug imprint? Is Will Smith an unconscious simp, meaning he's supplementing irrational male patterns? And have you guys been in relationships where you have been more or less giving your best and it's never enough? And then also we're going to look at a clip by Bella Bachelor from Coach Corey Wayne. And, you know, we're going to talk about some of the things that he's talking about the alpha widow, because some of you guys are dating women that are alpha widows. And the alpha widow is a woman that's used to a certain type of man. So let's look at the clip by Coach Corey Wayne. And we're going to look at the concept of an alpha widow, because an alpha widow is something that you can't compete with. You cannot compete with a woman that has been imprinted by the dominant man. It's hard. And many times she's going to just going to use you as a provider. She's not going to see you as an asset, but she's just going to see you as a provider. And that's why we do these shows. You're right, no doubt, Millennial Dad, fire for your mind. We got to get those cognitions open. We got to get those neurons and synapses firing, because when your cognitions are aware, guys, you won't continue to make the same mistakes that you're making. You'll start demanding what you want in relationships. So I got another clip I want you guys to listen to, because I love you guys and I want to see you guys win. And hold tight. Let me find that next clip, because it's very important. You know, he's the Bella Bachelor. You know, he's in the white space. And he's talking about an alpha widow, because I believe that Jada Pinkett Smith is an alpha widow. I believe she's reliving the ghost of Tupac Shakur.
And other guys will just say, guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. This is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Today, I want to talk about what some of you guys will call an alpha widow, what some of you guys call hypergamy in action, and other guys will just say when a woman won't settle. And that's really what it boils down to. You know, in the previous videos, I've talked about how women won't necessarily, men will sleep down, but they won't necessarily date down, or they might date down a little bit. But the cream of the crop guys will definitely take an easy bit of fun with somebody that's less than them, and that will make a woman believe that's what she's going to be worthy of in a relationship. You know, I won't go too deep down.
One of the greatest tragedies that women don't understand: just because a man is in your DMs, just because a man has sex with you, doesn't mean that he wants a relationship. Especially the top tier men. Now, you know, the lower tier men, the bottom feeders, you know, they're grovel at your feet. But most masculine top tier men, the 5%ers, the guys that are 6'5", 6'6", like myself, highly educated. Oh yeah, they'll tell you what you want to hear. I mean, I won't do that, but men will tell you what you want to hear. But a man coming to your DM, sweetie, doesn't mean he wants a relationship. He'll have sex with you, but it doesn't mean he wants a relationship. That, what I call fake attention, a lot of times, is just that. It's just fake attention.
Into it, but there's a good article here that I think kind of covers what we talk about with this kind of stuff. And it says right here, this is February 29th of 2020. So it's only about a month old, and it's from Bunch of Wisdom. And it says, what is an alpha widow? So this is going to use some terminology that some of you guys know about, others of you don't. And so I'll try to throw in those words. So if you hear me saying something that's not on the screen,
and shout out to Bella Bachelor. Go check that guy channel.
It says, what is an alpha widow? An alpha widow is a woman who has experienced at least one relationship with a high value or alpha guy. The relationship doesn't have to be long-term, but it's usually long enough for the woman to set certain standards and expectations for the kind of man she thinks she deserves. An alpha widow who has been with a 9+ man on the SMV, or the, I forget what exactly SMV is, but it's your value scale, your societal, like your value as far as like a 1 to 10 scale. That's maybe the best, but instead of just looks, it's your overall personality, right? Your overall value. So for an alpha widow who's been with a 9+ man on the SMV scale, for example, will have a hard time dating a man below that. To her, anything less than a 9 to 10 will not be worthy of her commitment and attention. Anything less won't make her happy. They're usually average in terms of attractiveness, which is why they get stuck in the dating world for not being able to readjust their expectations, hoping they once again find that high value alpha male who can rock their world. That's why they're called widows. They're unable to move on from that one person who took their soul completely and find it difficult to replicate the previous passionate experiences and emotions that naturally comes with being with that quality man. So,
and I call that the thug imprint. That's what's happened to Jada Pinkett. She's been thugged out, and that's why Will Smith will never meet her standards. He'll never meet them. So she's an alpha widow. That's why in the thumbnail you saw the spider, just like a black widow spider. She's been imprinted mentally by a superior man like Tupac. And some women have been imprinted by men like Tupac, masculine, dominant men that make the toes curl. They make them sing like the Five Blind Boys of Alabama when they're in that high octave, because those men are dominant. And, a lot of men can't match that. And it causes anxiety for the man. Keep listening.
Real easy example, right? Average girl, she meets a guy that's good looking, attractive. He's money, he's popular, whatever. To him, she's an easy lay. And for her, he's a rock star, right? And so once she's had this guy and he spends a little time with her, he's just kind of having his fun. But she says, hey, this guy's into me. He likes me, even if it's for a short period of time. And so over time, she gets, well, this one may have gotten away, but I have lots of guys that want to sleep with me or have short-term relationships with me that are high value. So must be that's what I deserve. I just haven't found the right guy that wants to spend that time with me, not understanding that, to choose to sleep with a woman is a much bigger difference than wanting to date one full time. It says, why should this matter to you? And they go on about, I'll read it. The typical relationship strategy of an alpha widow is to monkey branch from one relationship to another, looking for that spark and intensity that she yearns for. Monkey branching, meaning she's with this guy, and when she can swing up to a branch or a higher level guy, she will. So she'll say, no, I'm breaking up with you once she's secured the next branch above. And they think of it as a monkey swinging through the trees. It goes from this branch, it swings to the next branch and has a hold of that one before it lets go of the last one. It's very likely you could come across an alpha widow and perhaps even date one while navigating the dating scene. If you're an average man who's not aware enough to spot one or know how to deal with one, you could easily end up in a miserable relationship where you spend most of your time and effort trying to prove yourself to no end, and you're not going to know why. You'll grow feeling inadequate, helpless, and resentful towards your partner, dreaming of that one day that she accepts you as a worthy man. With a lack of awareness, you also might get into a competitive state for a lifetime, fiercely keeping up with their expectations.
And you're right, brother, that said it was trauma, because Will is being traumatized. He's being traumatized because he's reliving the ghost of Tupac Shakur. How many of you guys that are listening have been in relationships like this? A woman that was imprinted mentally and physically by a more superior man. And did it cause you anxiety and trauma? Did you ever feel like it was not enough? And if that's the case, I want you guys to hit the 2 button. And to the ladies that are listening, have you been imprinted by a man that you thought loved you, but he lied to you and he left you high and dry? And it's hard to get that man out of your spirit. I want you ladies to hit 3. But I want you guys to think about this, because, this is epic as it relates to relationships. Many times the men actually defer power and the women lose respect when that man defers power. Keep listening.
And her ex's ghost, a competition you most likely lose before you even try. Having said that, here are the signs you're dating a alpha widow for your own awareness, and you can deal with and avoid her. And here's the thing. So guys that are out there and they're dating and they're giving dating advice, and they say, hey, you just have to show high value. Well, I've said this in previous videos before, but let's say you drive a Ferrari, and let's say that you're my size, like 5'7", and you look like I do, but you drive a Ferrari, and you've got an okay build, not too bad. But a guy comes along and maybe he's broke, but he's 6 foot tall and muscular. Now, maybe she jumps over to him because she values his looks and that kind of thing more than me. Or maybe you're that 6 foot tall guy, right, who's got the six pack and muscles, but you find out she's going out with a guy that maybe has some money. You never know, right? But whatever it is, you always have to make yourself better than every other option she has. Well, even if you do that, what if that doesn't stand up to the guy that maybe was the martyr in her past? If a woman dates somebody that is, and the reason why I use the height and the looks and all that stuff is because they're things you don't have control over. So that with a salary, which is something you do have control over, the point being that you can't control all things. So you could be 6 foot tall and muscular and have a good job but the guy that she really wants, the one that once wined and dined her, slept with her, and then bounced.
And that's why I'm trying to keep telling you guys that money many times is not enough. Some guys say, well, if you pay all the bills, she can be feminine. That's a myth. You can pay all the bills that you want to, but if she got her back blown out by a more dominant man and she's more used to more masculine men, sometimes she'll settle for that man or she'll get your money and sleep with that man behind your back because that's what her body is used to. That's what the sexual revolution have done for a lot of our men and women. It gave our women freedom, and I don't have a problem with that. You do what you want to do, but just be willing to deal with the consequences. But it's caused a lot of men to have what's called a schema affliction. They have a negative fixation in their mind that they will get the women like their mothers and their grandmothers, and the affliction is the fear that they can never measure up to the men that the women have been with in the past. And that's what this stuff is doing to our communities and our families. That's why relationships are not as strong as they used to be, in my opinion, in my honest opinion, because of the impact due to trauma. And some of the women have suffered because they've been traumatized by the alpha dominant man that leaves them as a widow. Keep listening.
Well, that guy might have been tall and handsome and a doctor and had a fancy car and had friends and was popular. And you're always trying to live up to her expectations of what he was. And she looks at you and says, well, you're not as good as he was. I mean, you're good, but you're not as good as he was. So you're second best until I think I can get a shot at that guy again, even though in reality, she has no shot of dating that guy anymore. The 6 signs you're dealing with an alpha widow. She compares you to her ex repeatedly. That's an easy one. The other one is where she just doesn't compare you to an ex at all, but she says negative things about him, but she still keeps bringing him up. In other words, he comes up whether it's good or bad. They here only relate to good, but I'm telling you, it's with bad as well. She's never satisfied with you. You don't measure up. She'll go dissatisfied. You'll always know it. She'll constantly tell you that she's bored. She'll frequently criticize and berate you for the simplest things. She'll continue to disrespect you and crap test you on a regular basis. And she won't even necessarily know why she's behaving this way. Believe it or not, she's with you and she might initially like you, but eventually she may come to resent you because she feels like you're all she can get and she deserves.
Yes, millennial dad, I think it can happen to women in high school. Sometimes many of the sexual liaisons started in high school. And I think it can happen to them in high school. Yes, sir. I believe that. Yes.
Better, but she's not getting that attention. Somehow that makes her not happy with you. I don't know. She still keeps pics of and belongings of her ex. The old Facebook photos are still up. She may still keep them on phone. Here's one that I find that's interesting. Oftentimes she'll say she's still a friend with him. And, oh, we're just friends. We broke up. But, he's still smart, or he's funny, or he's interesting, and we're going to be friends.
One of the worst things that you can do is you're going to be in a serious committed relationship is to be with a woman that still wants to be friends with her ex or her exes. Because if she wants to be friends with her exes, that means she's getting dual attention. And you're leaving her vulnerable that when you guys have an argument, that she can fall back in the arms of another man. Even if she doesn't have sex with him, he still has imprinted her mentally. Remember, when the serpent came to the woman, he came to the woman through her ear gate. And many of these women still remember the times when they were with these men, where they would sit back, listen to love songs and lay in the bed with pillow talk. And you would be a damn fool to allow your woman to still have access to men in the past. That's a beta male move. If she does not follow your program 100%, sometime up to getting rid of social media, because social media is a distraction for many women, then she's not the woman for you. Because when a woman is ready to get with you on your program, she's willing to cut off things that can be a detriment to your program. I want you guys to keep listening.
Friends. And here's the key component of it. If you don't like it, that means you're just insecure and you can't handle it. And that's your problem, not my problem. So they keep the past around. And I'm not going to read down this because it's quite a long read. And, you know, I want to try to put a shorter video together for you on this one. She goes to her ex when problems come up. And yep, I'll read here. Unless there's business involved, your girl shouldn't be talking to her ex. If she willingly makes the decision to engage with him for whatever reason, then this should be a clear sign that there's something wrong. She might not be as loyal as you'd like to think. They come up with the strangest excuses to talk to them. He knows how the car works and I can't fix it. He helped me with work before and I want some help. He bought X from Y before and I wanted to do the same.
Casual observer, it's not that we're saying that a thug is better than a man. I'm not saying that. And I would love you to pop in at some point and talk, because I love your perspectives. Whether or not I agree with them 100%, I do respect your level of conscious thought. But what they're saying is that the term thugged out is just a euphemism to say that mentally she's been imprinted by a thug. A woman could be with a white-collar man that's dominant. It's not always a street thug or a street gangster. But that imprint can be irreprehensible, or it can be very problematic for a man that's trying to get in a serious relationship, because he's dealing with the ghost of her past. So that's my point of contention. So when we stop the show, guys, I want you guys to come in and talk about it, the guys and the women. They have been imprinted by this kind of malfeasance. And it's Jada Pickett destroying Will Smith mentally as a man. Keep listening.
We used to work out together, and I have a question about working out. He has a discount at the gym that I want to go to, and I want to get a discount from him. He has a problem with his new girlfriend, and he just wanted a girl to talk. I mean, the excuses are endless. But the point is, if she's over him, why would he still be in her life? Now, can they have genuine friends? I suppose, but that's a gamble at any point in time, right? She's always avoidant or frustrated in the bedroom with you. And they say sometimes if you're underperforming in bed, you'll just know. Her look of disappointment will be obvious. And at other
bingo. And that's what Will Smith is dealing with. He's dealing with a man that imprinted his wife sexually, mentally, and physically. And Mr. Albert, you got to determine what your goals are, brother. You have to determine what your standards are. You asked the question, is it worth even dating? Listen, I think the quality is not as high as it used to be. But if you're a man of means, you got your stuff together, focus on yourself, travel abroad with the understanding that women at their core drive universally are the same wherever you go. But here's the caveat. Women abroad have been socialized to be different. They've been socialized and conditioned to serve their men for the most part. Even though feminism is slowly creeping into some of the more traditional countries, it has not taken over. Family still is important in those other countries. So only you can answer that question. What are your standards? What are your values? And then you move accordingly. Keep listening.
Other times you're not matching her intense previous experiences that have involved other men before you. This isn't a very obvious sign that she's an alpha widow, because she's most likely not going to tell you that you don't drive her as crazy in the bedroom as your ex did, yet you can still connect the dots. They like to steer, women who steer clear from the bedroom on a regular basis tend to get very agitated and restless. While this as a sign alone may not identify her as an alpha widow, being frustrated in the bedroom will often give you hints that will help you get the bigger picture. I don't know so much if it's your performance in the bedroom, but the thing is, with more partners, there's always going to be the one guy that was probably the best, and that may not be you. And as such, that's going to be somebody that she's going to say, compare you against. And this is one of the problems that when we talk about why dating is dead so much nowadays, is when it comes to finances, you're not competing against yourself or the average of society. You're competing against the best she ever had. When it comes to your personality, same thing. When it comes to your muscle mass, same thing. There's always somebody she dated that it was stronger, better, faster. He was an athlete, but you're not. And then there was the other guy that she dated, and he was really off, financially successful, and he was going to go somewhere someday. Well, she wants to find all of this in one package.
And don't get it twisted, guys. There are some men that have been with women that were way better than the women they're with as well. You know, many women think, not all, but some women think that their vagina is fire. But I'm going to do a show at some point talking about the box vagina, meaning some guys think it's trash. There have been studies to say that most men don't even have orgasms. Many times they fake it. You know, we've heard of women faking orgasms, but there are a lot of men that fake orgasms too. The sex is not as good as the woman think it is. And so many women tend to pride their vaginas as being good, great, and good and special. But there are men that say, nah, boo, it's not as good as you think it is. And, you know, and I've talked with guys in private, and they said that, you know, even though sex is, you know, for the most part, you know, every woman is different. There's the rare woman that they call a snapper. It's called a snapper. And that woman is rare, you know, just like, you know, the alpha widow, there's a snapper that, you know, it's something about her vagina that's totally different than the men that women that he's been with. Keep listening.
That's the widow part of this. It's gone. She never will. But in every relationship that she has from here on out, she's going to compare every one of those factions to other men. And here's what makes it impossible. When you only have a couple of guys to compare against, it's easy to say, hey, this is the best guy I've ever dated. But can you imagine being, say, Joker in the bedroom, you're compared to Bob. In the finance world, you're compared to John. In the, I don't know, popularity department, you're to Ray. And in the muscle and fitness, you're compared to Joe. All right, well, now you're competing against 5 different guys, and it's just you. You can't be the best in all of those. And if you are, you probably want better than her because she's an average woman. You'd be going out with the top of the top women. So again, it becomes where she's comparing you to every experience she's ever had. And they may not be doing this consciously. She may not say, okay, I'm calling him, but there's going to be part of your relationship that frustrates her and isn't working out because there's part of you that's lacking to the best guy that she ever had in each department. And that's why, and ultimately, they're widows. They can.
And many times, guys, no matter what you do, it's never enough. That's why, as I said, once again, people will say, if you pay all the bills, she's going to be feminine and you can help her rest in her femininity. That's a myth. A woman that's wife-ready is possible. A woman that's been conditioned to be a wife and to serve is possible. A woman that has been ran through is possible. But women that have not done therapy and done the shallow work to become great women, it's almost damn near impossible. That regardless of how much money you got, she's going to always be chasing the ghosts of the past. She's going to chase those ghosts when she was in her college days, when she's getting her back blown out. When she was with the 6'5" guy like myself that was able to dominate her in the bedroom. And she's going to always be comparing you to him. Might not be on the conscious level, but on an unconscious level. And Will Smith, that's why I had the blue pill, is definitely an unconscious simp because she's been impacted by that spider. She's been impacted by a black widow, that spider, because Jada Pinkett is a spider herself.
Never find the one guy that'll fulfill everything for them. And you can never fulfill that for her. It says how to deal with an alpha widow. I'm not even going to read this. I'll tell you how to deal with it. Don't date him long term. Date him short term. And he even say here, if you're looking for a short term relationship and your girl's treating your connection accordingly, then it might not be much of a problem for you to continue having her around. There you go. That's all there is. There is no long term relationships. There is no commitment. It's always going to be a test for you, and it's one you're constantly going to fail. And even here at the bottom of this, they say, become better than the competition. The best way to avoid
shout out to the casual observer for the $2 super chat. He said the red pill men are confused. They want chaos. Well, I think it's both. They do want chaos. It depends on the acumen of a woman, the mental acumen of a woman, and the amount of trauma that she's been through. There's some truth to what you're saying, brother. There's a percentage that want chaos. But I'm not saying that all women are selecting chaos as their modus operandi initially. It depends on the amount of trauma that she's been through. So shout out Casual Observer for the $2 super chat. And brother, I want you to come on at some point. I love your thinking ability. You know, we ain't gonna agree on all things, but I do love you and respect you as a man. So keep listening, guys.
Alpha widows altogether is by eliminating the competition. And the best way to eliminate the competition is by being the man every woman would like to have and every man would like to be. It's impossible. It's a complete joke. You're going to tell me at 5'7", bald, even if I, beef up and I got the guns going and I'm in great shape and my finances are great, you're going to tell me some dude that is maybe super attractive, 6'2" and muscle bound, she's not going to, well, if he texted me, No guy could be everything. And if you're that 6 foot tall, muscle bound, great guy, yeah, she'll have a fling with you. But if you want a long-term relationship with you, or if you want a long-term relationship with her, she might leave you for the guy that makes $500,000 a year, but looks like me. There's no winning this, you see.
Right. He's right. Women by nature are hypergamous. It's Breitholt's law. There's kosher hypergamy, a term that I created, and the next term is called carnal hypergamy. Carnal hypergamy is exploitative. Kosher hypergamy is fit and proper. A woman wants a man that can give her basic provision, protection, love, maintenance, and security. It's not wrong with a woman wanting that. But carnal hypergamy is exploitative. Regardless of what that man do, like Larissa Pippen, she'll jump from one man to the next man. The next man that got the greatest return, that's what she's going to jump to. And most modern women, regardless of ethnic origin, a lot of them are like that. Most women want the best they can get out of a man: height, status, money, and sex game. And, sometimes you can give them all that and still not enough. So it's almost like it's a losing cause for some of them. Keep listening.
And back in the day when women had only dated one or a couple or even a few guys, you were only competing against those few guys. But when women are plowing through dozens of men or more by the time they finish with college, again, this may not be something that's in the front of their head, but you're competing with a dozen or 2 dozen men in all these different departments. It's an unobtainable win. You can't win this. The best you can hope for is just to hang in there for a little while and enjoy the ride that you get. But there's no way you are ever going. And, I hate to say this, man. So I won't say it the way I was going to say it. Maybe I'll put it this way. The odds are highly stacked against you that you're going to be the winner in that competition, no matter who you are, unless you bring everything to the table. But remember, we're talking about the average woman that had a couple of alpha guys that she got to have some fun with. So you're not competing with other average guys. You're competing with alpha guys for the average girl. It's a whole lot of effort for a whole little reward. And ultimately, the thing.
And guys, that's what I call it: taxation without representation and the mental breaking of the American male. Many men have been taxated to be subjugates to a woman that really doesn't regard them as being human. She just sees him as an asset to meet her own selfish whims. And that's why I tell you guys to get the best value for your buck by being world travelers. Get your passport. Travel abroad with the understanding that women are universally the same for the most part. If you're a simp in America, you'll be a simp overseas. But if you get your mind right, if you do your non-diagnostic consultations, I can help you get your mind right. And also these shows will help you get your mind right because it'll help you deal with those thinking errors that you're having. And that's why I do these shows, because I want to see you men win. But at the same time, I want to see our women win, the women that are good, noble women that are trying to introspect and do the right thing.
Thing is, we guys that go our own way or do our own thing or just casually date and move on our own paths, we're not the ones that are unhappy, because we can have lots of casual relationships if we want to. We can have short-term flings. We have a little bit of fun. The ones that are really left out are the women that want to have a family, want to marry Mr. Perfect, want to have everything go great for them. And you know what? They can't, because hypergamy has ruined them. They're always comparing everything they ever find to that perfect 9 or 10 guy that maybe they spent a week or 2 or a month dating because he was using her. And then he moves on, and that's now her new bar. Just it wrecks them. And if you get involved with one of them, they're going to take that heat out on you. Guys, if you want to support my work, links are below. If you have recently, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And the best way you can support me is like, comment, share, subscribe.
All right. So once again, that was the clip by Better Bachelor. It was a good clip, but it more or less parrots what we've been talking about in this ongoing epic saga with Jada Smith and Will Smith. Shout out to my man, what's his name, to Top Gun. Thank you, brother. Much love. Top Gun is my homie. Keep bringing that heat, no doubt, man. I'm about to drop that fire for your mind.
Fire
Keep bringing
for
that
your
heat,
mind.
this knowledge. It's much
No
needed.
kosher.
And you're correct. It is much needed, because the more men that I can liberate that are having thinking errors, the more men that I can degrease to let them know that they have options outside of the United States. And I'm going to be meeting with Al Grease in a few, hopefully. I'm going to be in the sky, and Al Grease is not going to be chopping it up, because I'm going to be in the movie Frustrated 3. And when that show drops, I can give you guys a link to Venmo so you guys can see the movie that I'm going to be in, the documentary where Al agrees, because world travel is now one of the options that many men are utilizing to become better versions of yourself. And listen, guys, there are going to be some that are going to try to shame you. They're going to say, oh, you're going over there for sex trafficking. The women are poor. They're prostitutes or whatever, and it's the same old shame language, because a lot of our women are dealing with being deaf. They have cognitive dissonance. And, as I told you guys, deaf means they deny the evidence. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They argue the evidence through ad hominem attacks, and they fight or flee because they are deaf. They're deaf. And so it's no need to keep talking to people that are deaf, because the gospel say if you keep talking to a fool, you become a fool. You'll become a fool. So you don't talk to fools. You just keep focusing on yourself. You keep loving yourself. You get yourself in shape. You study and understand female psychology, because there are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become optimized. Understanding female psychology is one of those. World traveler is the great equalizer. The great casual observer said that, respect, brother, black women's baby mamas are not sex gods, 6'8" model, looking super social, etc. level. The issue of feminism inspires chaos, not the best of anything. And I agree with that, casual observer. I totally agree with that. And then also he said, respect, brother, women's baby. Okay, that's a repeat. Mr. Albert said that women are upset. The info is spread. Well, listen, the women that want to do the right thing, they're not upset. The women that are noble and virtuous, the women that other women call pygmies, they're not upset. They're really trying to be good women. So shout out to you, sisters. I love you. I love the sisters that are trying to do the right thing. There are a couple of sisters that listen to my platform, and they're good women. So shout out to you, sisters, you good sisters that are trying to do the right thing. As a man, black men don't hate y'all. We love y'all, but we just feel like it's a damn headache. You got to go do so much trash to get the good ones that a lot of men are saying the hell with it. And I don't blame these young men. I feel sorry for some of these millennial and zennial men, because I'm a Gen Xer and things were getting bad, but it's not as bad as it is now. Shout out to Kill Deuce. The best thing for a man to do is not play. I respect that. Casual observer, you funny, man. Millennial dad, casual observer, the avoid feminists do what? The good doctor say, explore your options by traveling. No doubt. Respect, brother. JC said, didn't Anton take shots at passport bros? I don't know. Anton is new to the space. I love Anton. He's my homie. I don't know. If you can find that video clip, let me know. But if he did, that's his opinion. I respect Anton, but he has a right to his opinion like anybody else. And I love Anton. He's cool, but everybody got an opinion. I stand firm in my convictions, and I know he stand firm in his convictions, and that's why I respect him, because he do, and I'm going to stand firm in mine. I don't waver for no man. So, Truth and Emotion says, see how Evelyn Lozada ran through 3 pro athletes, and 2 to have over 100 million. She never married neither, who had over 100 million, but lived up to their. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Guap. Got low. Yeah. Well, yeah, it did get low. Shout out to JC for the $5 super chat. Yeah, you're right. I think I read that. So thank you, brother, for the $2 super chat. Thank you, JC. Women want to stay confused and that constant double talk and flip-flopping. And you're correct, because women, many of them by nature, are very duplicitous, meaning they're shapeshifters. They double talk. You can get with a woman, she's one way around you, but the man that made her toes curl and tingle, she's totally different around him. See, guys, when we had societies where the men were dominant, where the fathers had expectations, we didn't have the issues that we're having now. The sexual liberation movement has impacted men and women. It's made some men become neurotic because they're used to having sex with multiple women and they can't settle with one. But it's made our women become confused. And that's why I'm doing these shows, because I want to inspire you young men not to become slaves and fools to ignorance. So I'm going to drop the link, guys. I love what you guys are doing. Thank you, man. I love you guys. I'm going to be in the sky at some point. I got to see a couple of clients. I shouldn't be there. I'm doing nothing but get ready to pack. But I'm going to be in the sky at some point, and I will be doing a show. Rio, be doing a show. Me and my man Al Greaves, we're going to be chopping it up. Also, my man Aaron Ferris. Go check out Black Man Travels with Aaron Ferris. Aaron Ferris is an awesome brother.
because when black men have options, they become the better versions of themselves. World travel is the great equalizer. And so, guys, click on the link. Let's have a discussion. Let's have a discussion. Normally, my man Tim Howard is in the house and Gail, but I don't know what's going on. I know they're probably working. So, but let's have a discussion. What are you guys getting from this conversation about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett? Have you men that are listening been in relationships where you've been hoodwinked and bamboozled by women that have been imprinted or thugged out? What do you think this is doing to the mental health of Will Smith? Because some would say that Will Smith is complicit in his own ignorance. It's been said that Will Smith and Jada Pinkett have an open relationship, but the difference with Will is that Will is keeping it quiet and he's keeping it private. But this woman is causing a lot of consternation because she is, talking about their sex life openly and saying that, her husband doesn't really please her. But watch this. Do you think a 50-year-old Jada Pinkett Smith is worth anything on the market if she left Will Smith? Will Smith traveling abroad is a god. He is a god. He's over 6 feet tall. He's rich. Will Smith can get superior to Jada Pinkett, but Jada Pinkett can't get superior to Will Smith. Jada Pinkett can get some sex, and she might get a decent tier man, but look at Amber Rose. Amber Rose can't get the man she got in her 20s because in fair exchange, there is no robbery, because a woman's sexual market value is at its highest is when she's in her younger years. A man's sexual market value, if he's working out, eating clean, is at its best when he gets older. Now listen, every older man is not handsome. There are some dusty men that are older, but if a man take care of himself, drink cleaner water, take his vitamins, he works out. Oh, black older men get more sexy with age. A little salt and pepper. He's more refined. The salt and pepper swag game that I got. He's more refined. He's more knowledgeable. He's battle tested. Women find that attractive. That's why I tell you guys, don't worry about some of these modern women. Focus on your money. Focus on your purpose. Get your health right. Realize that there are women in other countries that will love you, that will honor you, that will respect you. Don't worry about the shaming language and goofy stuff. Women talking about you hate black women. That's just a diversion technique. Because when you hear them say, your mama black, well, your daddy is black. What's your point? And that goes back to how we diminish the importance of the man. We diminish the importance of masculinity. We diminish the importance of fathers. So I want you guys to pop in, click on the stream. I need somebody to come in and have a conversation because I'm gonna shut this show down in a minute because I got to get ready to get in the air. But I got about 15 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes. I want you guys to drop in. I dropped the link. Let's have a conversation because we need to have a conversation about what's going on. We see the issues of Will Smith being impacted by a disrespectful woman like Jada Pinkett Smith. And also to the guys that are listening, have you been impacted by women like Jada Pinkett? Have you been impacted? Ingram experience, drop in, brother. I want you to add to this conversation. You got that, you bring that Libra balance. Drop in the Ingram experience. I dropped the link. Come in, brother, and share some knowledge because you're not a Gen Xers. And you 6'7", you were an athlete. I'm 6'5", 6'6", with shoes on. And you know about the thug imprint. Casual observer, I want to hear you come in, brother. You're always laughing in the comment section, being sarcastic sometimes. And casual observer, I would love to hear your perspective as well. So guys, if the ones that are listening, come in. Let's have a conversation, because this is a dialogue, not a monologue. And right now it's a monologue. And we need to make it a dialogue. What's going on with this Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith fiasco? I want you guys to go back in time until the people click on the link. I want you guys to click on to come into the chat. How many times have you guys conceded power in a relationship? Have you seen scenarios like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith? Have you guys seen scenarios? Have you seen those scenarios? How did you deal with women like that? How did you guys deal with women like Will Smith, like Jada Pinkett, that more or less challenge your manhood and your masculine authority? What did it do to you mentally as a man? Did it cause you to suffer in silence?
Because I said in the past that a broken man is a hopeless man, and a hopeless man is a very dangerous man. Were you suicidal because of these social malfeasance? Did you cry? Have you become neurotic? Have you become obsessive compulsive because you can never live up to the image of a woman that you dealt with in the past? I want you guys to have a conversation. I dropped the link. I need you guys to come in. Ingram, come in, brother, if you're there. Ingram Experience, come in. I clicked the link several times. And let's have a conversation, because once again, this is a monologue right now, not a dialogue. Shout out to my man Low in Theory, always coming through, dropping some gems. Low in Theory, what's up, brother? How you doing, sir?
Brother, I'm doing well. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect. It's perfect. I can hear you perfect. I can hear you perfect. So what are you guys getting from this conversation real quick? Guys, make sure you mute yourself. I'm going to mute you guys. What are you guys getting from this conversation about being thugged out?
I got.
Can you hear me?
I got two strings going on. Let me.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put you on mute. In the meantime, I'm going to let Ingram chop it up with me, okay? I'm going to put you on mute, okay? Low in there.
All right. Cool.
All right. Ingram, Mr. Ingram, what are you getting from this conveation real quick, brother?
Hey, I tell you what, man, this is a great topic you having today, man. I had to tune in. I was like, because I had done a couple of videos because I was watching Will Smith get dogged out by his wife, man. This is just completely emasculating. And I think that's what this culture has become.
Right.
And you're dealing with a high value man like Will Smith. When you talk about the passport as the great liberator, I always wonder, like, do these guys realize how much power they have, or have they been socially programmed? Like, you mentioned the term the unconscious simp, and I referenced you in the video because I don't think the average American brother, white or black, understand how much power they have if they just expand their reality to the globe instead of just America. You know, there's a tremendous amount of power, but it's unfortunate that, 2021, you're watching this stuff, and these guys, like they said, they put themselves on the line. They're like, they did what they're supposed to do. They got married. They showed respect and honor to these women, and guys getting played out. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And guys, well, a lot of you guys don't understand that, you can't even get no good loving for your wife, but with the right man, she'll be a whore for the right man. You'll be surprised. You can't even get any oral fixations, but to the right man, she'll give them shit. Yeah. And so that's because so many men have conceded power. I tell guys over and over again that romance is earned, it's not given. In relationships, there's such thing called a power differential. If you give too much power to her without making her earn it, she's not going to respect you. Even the women in the media are saying that Will is weak. And Will is not personifying strength, because he should have checked that a long time ago. And I'll get it. He don't want to lose half his assets. But Jada's a Scorpio, and Scorpio women can be very manipulative, very controlling, and they love sex. Now, you get the right Scorpio women are powerful. But the sex game is good, but they're very controlling and manipulating. Millennial Dad, I'm going to get you to chop it up in a minute. But Low in Theory, what are you getting from this conversation? Thank you, Millennial Dad, for camming up, brother. What are you getting from this conversation, Low in Theory?
Well, I would take a different approach than what I've heard out in the public and social media. And of course, we can see this dynamic, but I think he cares a whole lot less than what everybody thinks.
That's possible. That's possible.
He has an image to protect.
Right.
Jada Smith, whatever she was, she's the least of his worries. He's got $350 million. This man made $100 million doing one movie. There's nothing that Jada Pinkett, who is a C-rate actress, the only thing we can really remember her being in is the
Set It Off.
Set It Off, and what's the thing with Neo and Morpheus?
The Matrix.
The Matrix. That's it. Other than that, that's it. Everything else, she's been raising hell on some emotional shit. That's all we can remember her for. Now, I think what we do in these spaces when we start talking about this, we begin to bring men like Will Smith down to our level. And he's not on our level at all.
That's a great point.
This is a world-class man who demands millions of dollars everywhere that he goes. So he won't look at relationships. He won't look at what she's doing the same way we will. But when we talk about it, we kind of take a personal inventory of it about how things are going with us normal people. But Will is not normal.
Can I address that, Coach? Can I address that?
Yeah, give me 1 minute. I want Millennial Dad to speak, and then Ingrid, I want you to pop in. But just say what you're saying is true, low end theory, because that's an excellent point of view. It still makes him look weak as a man. But the kind of money he got, he said you need to check that ish, because I don't think those tears were fake tears. Could they have been fake? It's possible, but I don't think those tears were fake. You could see a very visceral response when that man, when he was talking about how August, she had that sexual liaison with August. And I see your point, but I think he still loves his wife. I think there's some love to it. I could be wrong, but I think there's some love to it. Millennial Dad, what do you get from this conversation real quick, brother? Thank you for the donations that you've been given, the $5 super chats and the jets you've given in the past. And then the Ingram experience going to add some clarity to it. What are you getting from this conversation, Millennial Dad?
Yeah, so what I grabbed from what's happening with Will Smith, I actually think that he's afraid to fail. He's already had a marriage before, and he feels like he failed at that marriage. If you kind of listen to any of his speeches from before, he talked about how he kind of got that wrong. He didn't want to divorce his wife then. Right. And now he's going, he's going through what he's going through with Jada now, who sort of seems like she's antagonizing him to do so, but he's trying to hold the fort together and be strong and doesn't want to give up on his marriage. He's afraid to look like a failure twice by divorcing his wife Jada, because all of us are asking, like, what's holding him there at this point? You know, the kids are grown, he's making all the money. I don't follow them that much, but even on his channel, you don't really see them together too much. So I don't know what's holding Will there, except for the fact from my vantage point that he's afraid to let go and look like a failure when it comes to his personal life or marriage life.
That's an excellent point. Let me ask you a question, Millennial. Then I want the Ingram experience to add clarity to balance of this. You are a millennial. You know, it's obvious you're a millennial because you use the terminology the Millennial Dad. What is the quality of women like, in your opinion, as it relates to marriage and being marriage ready? What have you experienced before you got married, brother?
Well, I'm actually not married at the moment. I'm not married. I am in a long-term relationship. Marriage has been on the table, but I want to get to your question. The experience has been a big power struggle, even within my own personal relationship. We are constantly fighting for position into who's going to lead the relationship. Right. And I'll be very honest on you. It's causing a lot of issues. We love each other very much. She's a good woman. I don't have anything bad to say about her, you know, and we're even in therapy right now trying to hold on to our relationship. But the struggle has been with a lot of women in my generation is that they don't want to fit into any roles. They feel that the lines should be blurred, right? The lines should be blurred. Men should be doing what women were doing in the past. Women should be doing what men were doing in the past. Right. Although, as I've come to learn, because I've learned a lot from you guys, that's not the way we were designed. That's not the way it was.
It's not, right.
And I was raised with my dad. I mean, he didn't live with us, but my dad was around. My dad taught me masculinity. I grew up with a lot of males in my family, and I did exactly what you said. I started conceding power. And I did so thinking that something was going to be reciprocated to me within my relationships, and it never did.
It never did, right.
It never did.
Right, I totally agree. The Ingram experience, add some balance to that, brother. What do you think about that? Because I'm gonna tell you something, Millennial Dad. You're a good man. Man, you'll be a god in other countries. Not telling you what to do, but I will get rid of her. And I know that's harsh, but if she don't meet your damn expectations, you give her a damn mandate. You lay the law down. If you have any more questions with her, you tell her this is the corrective action. Because if she want to be in your life, it's incumbent upon her to serve you. Because if you look at it through the lens of theology, the woman was made for the man. And that might come off as being misogynistic, but I'm not trying to be that way because she's fighting you for power. Tell her what your program is. Tell her that you love her. But if she doesn't follow your program, get rid of her. Because guess what, millennial dad? In Ghana, you're a star. In Brazil, you are a star. In all those other countries, brother, you don't have to deal with that because men in America have been conditioned to be blue pill simps. That's why I put the blue pill up there. They supplement irrational male patterns. And a lot of our women have something called, they have narcissistic traits. And it's a concept called that narcissistic supply. And that's why you don't want to get caught up in that foolishness. Real quick, before I let the Ingram Experience say something. Shout out to the $10 super chat for the $10 super chat. And Jada leaves us real, she doesn't realize she's auditioning for other men. I'm sure most men, not simps, would pass because she's disrespectful, right? And can't keep private information in relationships. She's right. I would never touch Jada Smith. If I was in the game, I'd probably have fun with her. But that's it. I'm not going to take her serious for a wife because I refuse to be in a relationship where I'm competing with power. I'm going to be the man in the relationship. I'm going to rock with you. I'm going to love you. I'm going to take care of you. I'll die for you. But I'll be damned if I'm going to concede power because women only respect strength and power. Ingram Experience, add some balance to this conversation, brother. I apologize for all the ranting, but go ahead, brother.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I apologize, gentlemen. I respect the opinion of all the gentlemen on the board. You know, I appreciate you, brothers, man, even including you, Kosher. But here's a misconception that people have about Will Smith or Dwayne Wade or any of these guys. They're no different from us. And I go in terms of how, other than having money and power, they have the same relationship issues that every one of us have. And I did a video before about respect is more important than love for men. And when women respect you, they treat you a certain type of way. That's why I focus mainly on respect. Forget about that love stuff. This is not, this is not France. This is not romance. Get that respect first. But in terms of Will Smith and a guy like that, he's a victim of the blue pill simp programming that many of us are, believing that, this romantic love and we should worry about those types of things that set us up for failure. But Will Smith is suffering. And you can see it in his face. You can see there's no great grand plan for Will Smith. He has a disrespectful woman, and his woman is using the power that she's been granted by the government, which is marriage, to be disrespectful because she knows that to get rid of her is going to cost him money. And what Will Smith is doing is what so many black men are doing, which is fall on the sword, take the hits, which is what this culture is programming a lot of men to do. And I agree with the kosher. Women like that you can't tolerate. And that's why she's behaving like that, because of a lack of respect. So he is feeling it because I don't think it's rational to think that any powerful man or any man would want to take being labeled as a simp or being labeled as a weak man, and see any benefit from that other than he just conditioned to be that way. So I think he needs to get rid of her ASAP. Life is short.
I totally agree. Shout out to my man Shannon Ross. Thank you, brother. Thank you for, please everyone hit the like button. Thank you, Shannon. Shannon, I want you to comment too, man, if you can, if you're not busy, and add to the conversation. You're very intelligent, you're very cerebral. But guys, I want you to think about a time where you have conceded power. Starting with you, Low in Theory. What traits did you see in Will Smith that you saw in yourself as it relates to concession of power? And what would you share to the young men like millennial dad, some corrective action that he needs to do to move forward?
Well, quite honestly, I've never conceded power. If I wasn't in a power position, I didn't get involved.
No doubt.
Even as it pertains to my son's mother, she's just now learning. My son is 4. Mm-hmm. She's just now learning that she's going to have to come up under my program, even as a co-parent. Mm-hmm. And that's just, I think, and this is always, I always fall back on this. I think it's because my father positioned us to always be the leader. Mm-hmm. me and my 6 brothers. He's always positioned us to be that way. And he actually, and my mother as well. My mother was the one who suggested, when I was married, my mother was the one who suggested that I should leave my wife. She was, because she said, that's a woman that can't be reasoned with. And I know how you are. And so you'll always be in a fight. There's no need in spending the rest of your life like that. So I can't say that I've ever conceded power. If it didn't work for my program, I didn't get involved. And I can say that honestly.
No doubt. And I think that what men don't understand, they think by like millennial dad that he's an honest young man, that by trying to broker in the relationship, because see, millennial men are very blue pill, and some Gen X men too, and definitely the Zennials, because most have been raised in liberal ideology, and that liberal ideology is called egalitarian relationships. They'll tell you, millennial dad, that we're equal, and you're not equal. You're equal in human essence, but you're not equal in role and design. And if you fall for that negative trope, you're going to have issues in your relationships. That's why you don't argue with women that don't want to be part of your program, because you're not a bad looking brother. You can get better women abroad. African women, South American women, even Asian women would love to be with a man like you. And so you don't have to walk with your damn hands rubbing on the ground or lower your self-esteem over a woman. Like I said, I'm going to be in Brazil tomorrow. I'm going to be in the air. Damn right, I'm going to be in the air. And, you know, I'm going to get healed by the Lord. I'm going to get healed by the Lord. Not the Lord guy, but going to get healed by the Lord. I'm going to see Christ the Redeemer, the Christ the Redeemer statue. And Al Greaser not going to be on the beach chopping it up. Because, like I said, man, guys want to be liberated. And let me tell you something, millennial dad. Your job as a black man is hard enough. You're black. You got to deal with enough. And so you don't need that extra stress of trying to broker with a woman. I would say, man, you tell her what you expect. If she doesn't respect it, move on. Because a lot of times these traditional liberal therapists, they don't see things through the masculine perspective. They see it through what's called the feminist theory lens, which is based on empowerment. And most of them are not going to see it from a heteronormative perspective anyway.
Right.
And so I promise you, while you've been in these therapy sessions, they probably made it seem like you were the problem. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. I've been going over a lot of the personal things on my past relationships and stuff like that. And I have found myself disagreeing a lot with the therapist. And she's a female, probably about, I'm 34. So she's probably about 40 years old, I would say.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah. So sometimes it's a 2-on-1 in there. And yeah, just really trying to figure out my way. You know, some things you don't know, but you know what you know, if you know what I mean.
Right. Well, listen, man, you're 34, man. You can get somebody 25 or 22 or even 25. Many women like that are too old to mold. Right. Because they've had too many experiences. So you're dealing with a lot of demons for the past.
No, let me be. The therapist is about 40 years old.
Okay, gotcha.
My girlfriend, she's 33.
Okay, she's 33. Right.
33.
Right. And so does it feel like she was attacking you more and not holding her accountable?
I felt like she wasn't holding her accountable. I will say that.
Exactly. And that's why I say that women need to go to male therapists, because, and I'm not talking about, because a lot of these male therapists are cream puffs, but I'm talking about a masculine therapist like myself.
Right.
That's going to help her see her thinking errors using strategy and using what's called Socratic questioning to help her see her thinking errors and being fair to both, because many times they're not. And I can see the thought processes many times, guys, where the guys are cringing. That's why a lot of times when guys say, I'm going to the therapist to save my relationship, well, most of the therapists have been indoctrinated with liberal ideologies anyway. A lot of the therapists themselves are not married. A lot of the therapists themselves got weak, goofy men dragging their knuckles, trying to broker for power. And I'm telling you, I would never do it. I'm a dominant, masculine man. I love you. I'll take care of you. I'll die for you. But I'm gonna run my damn program. If you can't get in line, if you can't get in line, I'm gonna punch your ass like that football on Lucy from Charlie Brown. You remember the football that Charlie Brown punted? I'm getting rid of you.
Kick it on down the road.
I'm gonna get rid of you. You know why? You know why? Because I know what my worth is as a man. I don't tolerate disrespect from no man, but definitely don't tolerate it from a woman. I don't tolerate no disrespect. I say what I mean what I say. I'm very loyal and I take damn good care of you. But you can follow my program because it's my kingdom. It's my kingdom. And It's time for men to get themselves mentally ready to tell the woman that she's going to come into his kingdom. She got to follow his program because guess what? You got the most to lose. You got more to lose than she do, millennial dad. And so, like I said, man, once you get in that plane and travel abroad, man, man, you gonna
I've been abroad, and I will say I started traveling in 2018. I went to Thailand. I've been to Puerto Rico before that, but that was when I got that exposure and I started seeing, and that's when I came back with a different mindset.
Talk about it.
The problems started to appear because I was going along to get along. That was me. Very early on. We've been together 8 years. I would say for the first about 3.5 years, it was go along to get along. But when I came back from Thailand, went to Dominican Republic and everything, she started to see a change, and we just been at tug of war since. Now, I'll be honest, it's crossed my mind about us splitting ways, but I also have my daughter to think about. That's why I was looking at it. And she has a great relationship with my daughter. So I was trying to salvage my relationship, and because it wasn't just about me. That's how I was looking at it. Well, I'll let you speak on that.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. Ingram experience. Talk about a time where you feel like you brokered power. And I'm going to shut this stream down in about 15 minutes because I got to get ready to finish packing and get ready to get in the air at some point tomorrow. But talk about a time where you feel like you brokered power and gave too much in the relationship. And when did you have your great awakening? You know, your Reverend Whitfield moment. You know, Reverend Whitfield was a theologian in the 1800s during and before slavery. Right. And it was called the Great Awakening. When did you have your great awakening, Ingram experience?
I think it happened with me when I got married. I got married when I was young. I was a young brother, 22, 23, getting married. And I think for me, that's when I didn't understand how important respect is with women in terms of making them earn certain things in life. And I think after going through all those difficulties, and I've only been married once, never did it again. Well, I filed for divorce actually, because I realized ultimately that all this, because you always think to yourself, what am I not doing right to make it better? Am I not romantic enough? Am I not this enough or that enough? And when I find out that there's something fundamentally wrong about not being that leader that brother up top was talking about, that was my flaw, was not being assertive enough as in terms of leading and directing and doing those things. You know, you think that if you broker that power, it will make it better, but it doesn't. And certain women only respect masculinity. And you find that the only thing that some women respect is the fact that you're willing to get rid of them. That's it. That if they don't live up to a certain standard or a certain whatever, you're willing to say goodbye to them. And that's ultimately what I did, because I realized that this brokering of power does not work. So that's what I try to tell these younger brothers, you know, focus on respect. And you give respect, you take good care of women, you treat them well, you give them respect. That's why I salute the passport brothers. Because for me, anybody that's got a problem with the passport brothers got a problem with capitalism.
Right.
You can't be a capitalist and have a problem with the passport brothers. All they're doing is taking your value and they're saying, look, you're not going to give me the respect. I'm going to take this global. And that's just what it is. Because nobody in this world takes, one of my brothers before he passed up, nobody in this world takes care of you like you. Nobody. Mm-hmm. And believe that somebody's going to take care of you like you know, you're playing a sucker's game. So salute to the passport brothers. You know, go be happy, man. Because life is short.
Right. Life is very short, Ingram. You and I, man, you know, we're about to hit the fall of our lives. I'm 47 and I'm 50. Half my life is over with, man. And I challenge you, millennial dad. I remember when I was 34, your age, it seemed like it was yesterday. And I was like, oh, I got plenty of time. And I had an AOL account. and part of my AOL account was the number 34. And I thought I had time, but those years went by just like that.
Yep.
And you'll damn near wake up and you'll be 50 years old. You'll be old and broke down like a mule, because men die off earlier than women. They die because they're stressed out. They're not getting the feminine energy that they deserve. And like Ingram said, I don't look. A man got a right to do what he want to do. If you want to seek women in this country, I'm not against it. But if a man want to travel abroad, I'm not against this as well. And I don't know the men that try to shame men for traveling abroad.
Yeah.
To me, they're goofy, because a man should have the right to do what he want to do. That's what men do. Men do what's best for them. They don't ask no damn question. They just do it. So, when people, mock men for traveling, some of those men have their own agendas as well, because they want to continue to make money and sell. Because like you said, Ingram, they're capitalists. So why can't you capitalize on your investment instead of being them capitalizing on you? Because they're going to capitalize on you and your ignorance. So why don't you capitalize on your own self and meet the best outcomes, with the understanding, once again, that if you're a sucker here in America, you'll be a sucker abroad. The women by nature at their core, even though on the surface, women are different on surface, but at the core, they're all the same at core: resources, protection, maintenance, and security. Women are nesters, men are fixers. But if you get a woman that's been socialized to serve you, you got a powerful woman. And that's who you should deal with. You get with a woman that's been socialized to serve you, because when you get with a feminine woman, you're going to be your best. You're going to be the best version of yourself with a feminine woman, not a very cantankerous, like the gospel said, a contentious and quarreling woman will run a man to the rooftop. So, yeah, so I solicit you, young man, to start living your life on purpose. The gospel said, write the vision, make it plain. Write your vision down. Write your proviso down. You tell that woman, this is what I'm not going to tolerate. And she can either do it or she can't. You don't argue with her. Because when you start loving yourself, then you don't worry about her. And one or two things going to happen, millennial dad. She's going to either comply and be a better woman, or she's going to keep fighting the power. And a lot of times they're putting on an image like they've changed. And then once you say, I do, they'll pull the mask off. So it's a lot of risk that you have to take into consideration as well, because a lot of them will pull that mask off once they get that ring on their finger. What's your take on that, low end theory?
Well, I just pulled up a scripture that makes a reference to certain kinds of women. And this is to millennial dad and any of you brothers out listening who may be at an impasse in their life dealing with a woman, whether to stick it out and work it out. The Bible says, Proverbs 27:15-16, a nagging spouse is like a dripping, leaky faucet. You can't turn it off and you can't get away from it. If she's like that now, she'll be like that if you marry her. So by all means, protect your peace as a man, protect your position, protect your kingdom, and even for the sake of your child, always take the position of the leader. Even if that means if you have to go, and a lot of times we say, keep the courts out of your parenting. Sometimes you just don't have a choice because you're dealing with somebody that you just can't reason with, and you need a buffer. Sometimes the courts can actually be a buffer to keep you from having to deal with the emotional stress of unreasonable women, especially when it comes to your child. If she can't fall up into your program, then she's not really worth having in your life. By all means, do what you have to do for your child. And like I said, sometimes for the child's protection, keeping that buffer between you two can help, so the child don't have to deal with the stress of what's happening between you and the parent, you and the mother.
No doubt. Shout out to my man, Shannon Rawls. Go check out Shannon Rawls at his channel at Shannon Rawls. That's a good brother. Him and I were on King Talk last night from the Lapeep channel.
Great show.
Yes, sir. And as the scripture said, oh, how good is for the brethren to dwell together in unity. And Shannon talked about times when he was a blue pill simp. He was supplementing irrational, not an irrational male patterns. And it's a pattern to being a simp, because most simps are defeated, They constantly put the woman above them, which is a mental pathology called mental minimization. The things they do is very irrational because any rational man wouldn't do it. That's why Rollo Tomasa came up with a book called The Rational Male, because most men are very irrational in relationships. Actually, being in love can be dangerous to a man because a man should never love a woman more than he loves himself, because men are imprinted mentally through a woman. That's why the whole idea of romanticism, unless that romanticism is earned, can be a detriment to a man. So as Shannon said, dear all high earning and high value men, please support this channel with the super chat. No doubt. Thank you, brother, because this is good information. If you're not there yet, we understand. But if you are and have the means, pay your positive karma side. Law of reciprocity goes both ways, no doubt. And damn it, that's fire for your mind.
Fire for your mind.
Fire for your mind. Because see, let me tell you something, guys. When your neurons and synapses are actually in calibration, that's fire for your mind, because now you can see a lot brighter and a lot clearer. A lot of our men also have cognitive dissonance if they are recipients of being deaf. And we got to break that schema of affliction, also that cognitive dissonance. That's why I do what's called non-diagnostic consultations. You guys can email me at kosherclinician@gmail.com. I've been helping a lot of men behind the scene. It's not too many licensed clinical therapists. They're going to give you what I'm giving you. So many men can talk about game, the PUAs. The PUAs talk about game because they know that the ear gate is the same thing that the serpent used to betray or to usurp the woman. It's the ear gate. But so many men are blinded by the eyes. And so if you're not able to control what you see, which is a manifestation of being carnal, then you can become a recipient of your own demise. So I'm trying to help you guys. You're not going to find no other content creator like me as it relates to remodifying the mind. We call it cognitive restructuring, or as it relates to the passport bros, I call it degreasing. You become degreased, just like a degreaser. You spray a degreaser on a soil element, and then you degrease it, and that comes from my man Al Grease, a concept that I created called to be degreased, because that's cognitive restructuring. You're restructuring that tarnished, or that very damaged mind. And that's why I do what I do. That's what I do. And that's why I love these brothers. Shannon, I want you to pop in, brother, if you can. I'm going to drop the link because Shannon's very intellectual. And I'm going to get ready to get in the sky for tomorrow. I got to put on I'll get me some chewing gum, some of them ear buds, because I know it's going to be popping while I'm in the air, man. And man, I'm about to get some of that, what I call it, some of that vitamin D and some of that coconut water, man. And I want you guys to go to Beulah. You know, they call it Beulah. You know, we call it Canaan. We call it the Promised Land. Yeah. And Dr. King said, I might not get with you, but he said, I've seen the Promised Land, and I've seen it too. And I'm trying to tell you guys, you don't have to tolerate the disrespect that you're tolerating. And so you're right, Shannon. Shannon, come on, brother. I dropped the link. If you can, come in. If you can, if you're not, you're still on the road. And much love to you, brother. I love your intellect. But real quick, guys, what would you do if you were Will Smith, low end theory? Then I'm gonna start with Ingram Report, and then also to Millennial Dad. And I've dropped the link for any of the ladies that would like to drop in and join and add to this discussion. Well, what would you do, low end theory, if you were Will Smith? What would you do, brother?
Well, first thing I would do is I would be a little bit more vocal about the chirping that's coming from her and her camp, because what I do see is that her time is almost done, but what she's trying to do is damage Will's reputation when it's time for him to move on. So to say he can't satisfy her sexually, how are other women gonna look at him now?
Right.
So I would be a whole lot more vocal as it pertains to what she's saying, because I don't think the summer of 2022 is gonna come and they'll be together. I don't think it's coming. I think that's the end of that train. And so yeah, I would be a little bit more vocal. I would be a little bit more present out in the public. So and I know Will, he's going to protect his image at all costs, even if that means protecting her and her stupidity and his kids and their and whatever it is she's doing. As she's damaging him, he's still going to try to protect her. So like I said, I would be a whole lot more but she would get some skates on and sit down the road, pay what I gotta pay, and I'm done with it. I mean, my kids are grown. What else? I gave you a purpose in life. I gave you kids to raise. At this point, it's over. I would nip that in the bud.
No, I totally agree with you, man. Shout out to my man Michael for the $20 super chat. Thank you, brother. Thank you for that $20 generous super chat, and also thank you for GCLA for the $5 super chat. Thank you, guys. I love you guys. What you're doing, Shannon. I want you to come in, man, if you can, before I drop off this stream because I got to get ready soon. But thank you, guys, man. I love what I'm doing. I love seeing the power and the invigoration in the eyes of the millennial dads and low end theory and guys like the Ingram experience. Me and my man Ingram have talked in private. And we're going to take our power back as men. We're going to say, give me liberty or give me death. Men are taking their power back. And guys, be aware there are many charlatans in this space too. There are some of these women that are not genuine. They're fake. You know, they're acting like they're down, but they're not because they've been damaged. They've been tarnished. Some of them have been thugged out. What would you do, Ingram experience, if you were Will Smith? And maybe you answered the question earlier, but what would you do if you were Will Smith? Yes, sir. Ingram. Yes,
I was advising him, drop that goofy ass broad today. She's disrespectful. Take the hit. Nothing that she can do that can mess up your brand. You're Will Smith. You're a god throughout this world.
Right.
You don't have to live in America. You're a rich man. You're powerful. She has no power. Period. She's almost 50. Don't believe the nonsense about your brand or anything. Nothing's going to happen to Will Smith. Even if you have to give her half your money, get rid of that goofy broad. Get your balls back today. Put your testicles back on your balls today. Get rid of her. Get respect. To hell with all the money. Get rid of her ass today. Right now. Go see a lawyer. Get rid of her today. Pay.
Right.
You're rich.
Yeah. And he was a blockbuster movie away from recouping everything.
Exactly. And you know what the greatest way he can pay her back is by getting somebody younger and prettier. That's the greatest way he can pay her back, getting somebody younger, prettier, more feminine, and more cooperative. That's the greatest way he can pay her back. What's your take on that, millennial dad? What should Will Smith do next? And then we're going to do another roundtable discussion, and we're going to ask ourselves the question: is the modern American woman thugged out? Go ahead, brother.
Well, what Will Smith should do is hire himself the lead attorney, get himself out of that marriage, then book himself 10 sessions with you, Kosher.
No doubt.
You know, rebrand himself again, take some time off, and then come back as Mike Lowry like we used to see Will, you know, and do Bad Boys 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, no doubt,
you know, just keep it simple as that. He really just has to redeem himself, you know, and it's right there in front of him if he so chooses. You know, but it just seems like he got to do some soul searching and find out what you know. He knows what the option is. He's a very intelligent guy, but similar as me, like just pull the trigger and live your life.
Solomon low end theory is the average modern American woman thugged out, or is it above average in your opinion? I'm gonna bring it to the Ingram experience and then back to millennial dad. Is an average American woman or above average American been thugged out? In your opinion?
Well, if I look at my immediate circle, I work at one of the most prominent churches on the East Coast. This is one of the biggest churches in North Carolina.
Okay, you're in North Carolina?
I'm in Charlotte, brother.
Oh man, we gotta chop it up.
Yes, sir.
All this tar here.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I went to Carolina grad school, man. So we got to chop it up. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, and the church is about a 10,000 member church, and I deal with a lot of the women in the church, and I notice that these women aren't thugged out at all. They've just decided that their careers was more important coming out of college, and that's what they have done for the last 20, 25 years. And now in their elder years, I'm talking 45, 50, 55. Now they want to try to find a husband. And I'm like, are you serious? I mean, first of all, can you have a child? Okay, well, that knocks you down by 60%. So, so I would say that, you know, with the hot girl summer and with social media and TikTok and the exposure that women can have even in their older ages, you got a good percentage of them that are, I would say, thugged out. But most of that is I'm just following. Women are followers. They're not leaders. I'm just following what I see somebody else do.
Right.
They're not really like that. They really just as soft as cotton. Can't bust a grape. Ain't really had, you know, no man to really put it down on them mentally, spiritually, or physically. And so a lot of women suffer from just being depleted by themselves and life, and trying to get the bag and get the career. So, and I'm speaking from my generation, Generation X.
Ingram Spence, you're from Gen X. You saw a lot of social malfeasance growing up. You 6'7", you know, I'm 6'5", 6'6" with shoes on. You about an inch taller than me. And you know, are most women that you've seen, I know you were athletes, so you had your share of poon, but are most women in your mind thugged out, meaning they're being imprinted by the thug imprint, mentally and physically? What's your take on that?
Well, it depends on what the age is with the women, but I think with the biggest issue with our culture too, man, is that a lot of, you know, for the Black community, you have more of a matriarchal culture, and since the 60s, the influence of fathers and men have went astray. I said the government came through the front door and the men went out the back door. So you've had 50, 60 years of these households being led primarily by women. And with that, you know, there's this social program and this culturing not to respect men, especially Black men. Even successful, hardworking Black men don't seem to get the respect of a lot of their counterparts, and that seemed to be a problem within our culture. So they've never been raised really to, you know, respect men, because the men have been out of place in terms of replaced by the government. And I always say that's one of the biggest problems in the Black community. You remove the government, everything will fall back into balance, because a lot of them are government empowered. But, you know, on a deeper level, you know, with a lot of men, that's why these spaces are so important, and men come out and support other men. Because when you're dealing with a woman, you're dealing with a coalition, her aunts, her mom, her sisters, and whatever. That's why I made a video about dealing with the ex, about how to deal with the ex. And I always talk about you being the villain, and you go over to that house to pick up your kid. But that's a whole nother story. But the issue is that a culture of disrespect is what you have when you don't have that patriarchy or that masculinity in place. And I think that's been cultured in our community. So even when they do get a good man, do they even know how to respect him? Because what have they been taught their whole life? And what have they saw growing up in these households, you know?
No, I agree. I totally agree. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. Millennial Dad, in your mind, you're a millennial and you see it more than me, because some have argued that millennials are some of the most selfish generation out of all, and maybe even the zennials. But what's your take on some of these millennial women? Have they been thugged out? Are they cooperative, or are they a pain in the ass, based on what you've seen, brother?
So based on what I've seen, a lot of them, I would say most, are thugged out. That's very true. And then you got a lot of pretender thug guys, and they go for those guys as well. And I had posed the question, you know, does this happen in high school? And that's where, you know, I definitely seen it happening in high school. They were chasing a lot of the thugs. This around the time I was coming up, where, you know, the rap music, the gangster music, the 50 Cents, the Ja Rules, and the DMXs, everything, may he rest in peace. They were chasing after those kind of guys, while the intellectual guys were being left to the wayside. We were told, you know, you play too many video games, or no one wants to read a book and all that other stuff. And take somebody like myself, who was a little bit of an intellectual jock, where I played sports, but you know, I kept my head in the books as well. And I had to compete with the guys who, you know, would rather cut school, who would rather, you know, not pay attention in class, wanted to cheat off your paper. And as long as
Raekwon the man. Go ahead.
Yeah, basically Raekwon and Man, and those were the guys that were getting the girls. You know, we and then as I went to college, they started chasing. I mean, you see this in all kind of schools, but they start chasing the upperclassmen, but they wanted the upper class experienced men. You know, the man who got around on campus. So sort of like that, like the player on campus. Like they all wanted a shot at that guy. So yeah, I would say most were definitely chasing the thug guy. And then if you ever, most of us have seen Power. As I became an adult, it looked like most of the women started to want to get a guy like Ghost from Power. That's what it seemed like.
No, I totally agree, man. The question remains: are Western women ready for marriage and cooperation? Joel DeMillo, you was on the peak last night. Shout out to you, brother. What do you want to add to this conversation? Have there ever been a time where you have conceded power in the relationship? That's one. What's your take on the Jada Smith, Will Smith fiasco? And do you feel that many of these modern women have been alpha widowed by a more dominant man, in your opinion? That's a loaded question. That's 3 questions, but it's loaded. But I want you to try to answer that. And then I'm going to go run downstairs and get me some water, guys. So you guys keep talking, all right?
Okay.
Go ahead, Melanie. There. Go ahead, brother.
Can you hear me?
Joel DeMillo. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So I've never technically conceded fully, just because I was never properly indoctrinated, if that's what you want to call it. But what I did do was I did make the mistake where I did temporarily believe, okay, you know, modern society is telling me women want to get out here and work. So when I got with my current wife, I was comfortable. I was like, hey, okay, cool. We're going to work together. We're going to build this up. And then I found out, you know, very shortly, you know, I might have to, you know, build up, you know, the masculine way myself, and then she kind of take the more feminine role, because that's how things, you know, kind of develop naturally. So I did believe shortly that maybe we would be able to get out here and work, and she would do the work, put the work in like a man. But like I said, she's not a man, you know. So therefore, I realized that flaw, and fairly, I want to say probably halfway through our relationship, probably like 2-3 years ago, and then I made the changes to where, like, okay, I'm gonna take all the burden of being the actual provider, and then she take the more feminine role. What was the next part?
What do you think about the Will and Jada saga?
Yeah, that is very interesting. To be honest, we'll never know, because there's a lot of theories. There could be the whole Beyonce Jay-Z thing where something came out, because mind you, I believe it was August that actually, you know, alluded to her and Jada being together. So technically, Jada didn't. I don't think Jada came out with it first. So it might have been a reaction to something August did, similar to Beyonce and her husband, where they just kind of took it and ran with it. I do believe on the Lapeef show they did mention that Will was coming out with a book, and of course Jada and them, they had the Red Table Talk coming out, you know, and that's where it was all put out there. So it was good for views, and it was good for monetary gains. So that theory, actually, I just did a show on Sharice Hassan, who's one of those guys that actually kind of coined that way of becoming famous, or gaining notoriety, where you kind of like any publicity is good publicity. Like he was responsible for like the Kim K's and the Paris Hiltons of the world, right? So I'm actually about to wrap that up, because I gotta do part 2 of that too, after I get off of here. But I found it funny because I see where they could be doing that kind of thing, where it's like that Lemonade 444 album, where, you know what I'm saying, like they're just taking it and running with it, and they're gonna see what they're making as much money. But also, if it is true she is the alpha widow, I can also see that perspective too, because it's like some of the stuff is like, okay, I don't really know why, you know, she would say some of the stuff, like alluding to the whole sex in the bedroom thing and that kind of thing. Like that's kind of like one of those things where it's like it's a bit unnecessary, you know. Like there's other ways to kind of generate, you know, that, you know, publicity. But I was like, that's just one of those jabs below the belt, you know. And from that perspective, the dynamic is very true to what we see in the Black community, where you have the Black woman totally and completely disrespecting the Black man, whereas the Black man is kind of just trying to tolerate it best he can and try to deal with it best he can. And that I see that dynamic way too often, to be honest.
No doubt. Excellent response. Give me 1 minute, guys. Shout out to my dear friend, Dr. O. McCoy, for the $20 cash app. Thank you, dear. She said that the average woman will urinate outside, see nothing wrong with that behavior, then turn around and light up a Newport in a short box with a wig on. We are definitely thugged out. And yeah, she's right. And you tend to see more unsavory behavior than you see feminine behavior. And women don't understand that their femininity is their greatest asset when it's genuine. We're not talking about fake femininity or conditional femininity, but genuine feminine women. My man Shannon said that, my man Antoine too said they want the drug dealers and the bad boys. Yeah, they want Raekwon the Man until their glory years are gone. Red Pill Awareness says time to outscore the wife. He calls, he says land whales insufferable. And Shannon said to you, Joel the Miller, he said, Joel, we're glad to see you cam up, little OG. Wash them hands, wash them hands, wash them hands. So I'm gonna ask you guys a question, another question. And starting back with Low End Theory, and then we're gonna end this show because I got to get ready to go. I got a lot of things to do, but are Western women built for marriage and cooperation, in your opinion, Low End Theory? And then we're gonna take it to the Ingram experience. Then we're gonna take it to millennial dad, and then back to Joel in the middle. Go ahead, real quick.
I would say, man, gosh, I can't definitively say yes. Her family life would have to be of a certain sort. She would have to be of an age to where she can be molded for that. Now, and of course, if that means if she's young, and I'm not saying, arcade young, I'm talking somebody that's just graduated college or something like that. Somewhere between the ages of 22 and 27 or 28. And of course, like I said, if she has a family life that she can pull from, and a family structure that has taught her what family is and how to respect her father and how to respect men. We still have another generation coming up behind us. Mm-hmm. But as far as speaking from my generation, Generation X, hell no.
He said, hell no. And you know what? I think that's where it started. I think Gen X, I think it started with the boomers. They gave them the fire, they gave them the matches, and the Gen X women started the flame, and now it's out of control. The Ingram experience, and Low End Theory, we from Gen X. We're Gen X. I'm class of 90. Low End Ingram experience, you probably class of 93. And then Low End Theory, what year did you graduate, brother?
92.
92. So you guys are a little younger than me.
Yeah.
But just a little younger. But are modern women wife ready and ready for cooperation and marriage, in your opinion? Ingram experience.
You mean okay? Look, I like break it down. To be honest with you, absolutely not. And here's why. Even for instance, Jada Pinkett Smith thinks she's better than Will Smith. So does Steph Curry's wife. You even hear Tiffany Haddish was making a comment the other day about how Common had to grow on her.
Right.
That's the Common. Anywhere in this world, Common is a king. Tiffany Haddish is obnoxious. Got that mole on her face. Like Steph Curry's wife. She's married to Steph Curry, and she's still looking for male attention.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that stuff baffles my mind. And the average, you ever see Kevin Samuels check these women? The average American woman thinks she's better than us. And I always say, anytime you get in a relationship with a woman who thinks she's better than you, you lost already. Your ass is lost, because she thinks you have to subjugate yourself to that, to be with her or to live up to her standard. You're on that treadmill of happiness already because she thinks she's better than you.
Right.
That's not the case for men when they go abroad or go other places. because that's part of the social programming in this country. So the answer is absolutely not. And I think probably needs to be like a 3-4 year boycott of marriage and all these other relationships, because I don't think the respect is there. And I don't see that coming until men completely leave the reservation and say, look, we're not dealing with that. You know?
Right. I totally agree, man. And, you know, when men realize how much power they have, because we are the arbiters of relationships, they're the arbiters of sex. Men, you guys have more power than you realize. Shout out to my man, Black Man 316 for the $5 super chat. He said, our society is just in a degenerate state. I don't know if she's the alpha willow. Jada is just lost. Well, I think she's the alpha willow, and thank you for that super chat, brother. But I do think she's the alpha willow. I think she's imprinted. Have been imprinted by more dominant men. And, you know, you see this ongoing culmination where subpar to average women, you know, Ingram, you've seen it. Low end theory, you've seen it. Joe in the middle of seen it. Also, the millennial dad, you've seen it also, brother. You know, you got chicks that are 600 pounds.
Yep.
You know, and they think they still deserve a good man. But on the flip side, that 600-pound chick won't date a 600-pound man.
Nope.
You can't make this up. Elmo's a dummy. He know that ain't right. Elmo said, that ain't right. Elmo said, that ain't right. And he's a dummy, and he knows that's not
you know something, Kosher? I always say Lizzo is the biggest fat shamer of them all, man. Right. She will never date a fat brother. I mean, a fat man don't even got a chance. She's at the Lakers game trying to get a Carl Anthony Towns. She's trying to get a Drake. That's the most crazy delusional thing, man. They only have standards for us. That's just funny, man. That's how delusional. She actually thinks she's gonna get Carl Anthony Towns or Drake. That's what's in her mind.
Like the young folks in the Zennial say, Lizzo said, do you like my drip? No, I don't like your drip, boo. Your drip look like slops. So let me go to Millennial Dad and ask him, because you are a millennial and you see this foolishness more so than anything. And you were in a relationship where you saw your relationship go down the drain. Are Western women ready for cooperation in marriage, in your opinion, brother?
Absolutely not. I have to agree with the Ingram experience. They are not ready for cooperation in marriage in any stretch of the word. They're drunk off power. A lot of them are looking to be this quote unquote ambitious person, and their only ambition is to get what's theirs or what they feel is theirs, and only out for their self. And they're not looking to come to the table with anything, nor are they looking to cooperate with any man. Even if they get a quote unquote high value man, they only want him for his resources, not even for who the man is and what he brings, his character, his culture, everything. They just want him for the lifestyle that he can bring, you know. And then when it comes down to, you know, the above average or the average guys, like Ingram said, they're looking at it as if they're better than us. So absolutely not ready for marriage. Also to add, a lot of them don't have any of the training. I know women who don't even own an iron, don't even know how to iron clothes.
Spray on.
Seriously,
spray on.
Don't cook, don't iron. You know, can't find their way to do anything. No, very little skills. You know, cooking in the microwave. That's what I got in my generation.
Yeah, and that who raised you,
right?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. When do we lose this power, guys, in your opinion? When do you feel like guys lost this power? When did we lose it? When did we lose this power? What element of feminism was the first wave, second wave, third wave, the fourth wave that got our world to this point where it's at now, guys?
If I could answer that question, it probably started in the 60s. And I always say the Great Society was the nail in the coffin of our community, because what it intentionally did, it put the government and government benefits and government subsidies, because like most women are government empowered through government grants, government sponsorship, even government safety nets. Because the first time you get into a huge blowout argument with them, what's the first thing she threatened you with? Most of them threaten you with the cops. That's the government. So the government itself in the 60s with the Great Society was the first blow that brought our households from 75, 80% with a man in place down to the 27% that we have today. Because if you have the government that can come in, you don't have to worry about getting pregnant because the government pays for benefits. You can apply for the grandson program. Like I said, any woman with a child can get on TV and cry poverty, and there's be a 10 GoFundMe accounts come up, and social services will kick in and everything else. It's the government. That's what happened in the 60s, and we have not recovered from that.
Right, haven't recovered, and don't see it recovering anytime soon. I think it'll take several generations for us to even get back to a stable point, because the ground is so fallow now, and that's why I seek to empower our men. I don't want to see men sitting in their cars crying and contemplating blowing their brains out, and because they're frustrated with the options that they have here in America. I believe men need to be celebrated. I'm gonna share something with you guys, man, that really touched my heart. Conversation I had with my dad. Men have been so conditioned to think that they are less than. I asked my dad a question one time. I said, Dad, when we were little, you always used to say, oh, I don't want anything, I'm fine. But I asked him, I said, but you were lying. He said, yeah, you were right. He said, I really did want to be validated. And I gave my dad $100 for his Father's Day, and you could see the joy in his eyes, because men have been conditioned to be doers instead of receivers. We often say honor their mother and thy father, but that's not what the scriptures say. The scriptures say honor thy father and thy mother, so that your days will be long on the earth. And we often defer power from the man and give it to the women. But in actuality, in other cultures, the father is the first mediator between that child or that woman before she's about to get married. That man got to come to that father. But now, because we live in a very gynocratic culture, you don't see that anymore. What's your guys' take on that real quick? And this show is so good, man. Man, I've been saying I was doing like an hour show.
It's a good show.
It's a good stream, man. But what's your guys' take on that real fast?
Well, I mean, obviously with our society, men are programmed to be altruists, because at the end of the day, if cash flows from us to women, that's more spent in the economy. And there is an economic motivation to unstabilize the base of power in the households and homes as well, because like I said, women spend money, spend a lot of it, and when that man is not putting we work budgets, we work expense accounts, we work finances a certain type of way, and it's the same with the church and everywhere else. You got to explain to us where the money's going, and those are factors right there. In this country, there's an economic factor,
Yeah. Hey, Kosher, back to your original point. When you said when everything shifted, I actually believe it was earlier than the 60s. I think it was during the World War times. Because if you think about it, that's before the whole feminist movement began. But what you had there was you literally had a mass migration of all the men overseas, which actually allowed for society to technically be dominated by the women for the first time in history. So those women, a select group of those women probably did like that power where they were, doing the jobs that the men were doing. I believe most women didn't like it technically. But as the men were away, they were able to spend their money as they pleased. They were able to take care of the household as they pleased. And they were like, of course, they wanted their men back, which is why they had the baby boom when the men finally came back. But I think it was coupled with women getting a taste of power, how it is, and also the men who came back, let's just be real, a lot of them didn't go through therapy like they should have, and a lot of them were actually mentally, not capable of leading their household like they should have. So they kind of, when they got back, they were just happy to be alive.
And many of them guys have went through vicarious trauma. Some of it is rebellion because they listen to their mamas and the boomers. But some of it also is because it's just trauma. When you hear, the mom telling the daughter, girl, focus on your career. Don't worry about no man. You don't need a man, because they were broken because some bad man got with them. So that child began to live through the vicarious trauma of her mother. And she picks up those bad habits from her mother instead of saying, I'm going to be soft and self-sufficient until I get a man. And Joel, you seem like you're a millennial. Millennial dad is definitely a millennial. if you guys decide to get married again to the millennials, I don't know if Low End Theory is married. Are you married, Low End Theory?
No, I'm not.
You're not. But Millennial Dad, let's start with Low End Theory real quick, and then I'm gonna get off because I gotta go. If you decide to get married again, will you travel abroad to get your wife to find a woman that's fit for cooperation in marriage, or will you stay in America? Starting with you, Low End Theory.
I'll probably travel abroad. Now, there's one young lady I got my eye on. She's from South Africa, so she's
South Africa.
She's not American.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as an American woman, no.
Tell the audience why, because you said that very emphatically. You said no.
Because I'm dealing with a woman that's raised by a culture that doesn't respect men, that doesn't respect family, that doesn't respect authority, and you know it's inevitable that that's going to affect my union with that woman. It's just inevitable because me and the way that I was raised, it's not going. That rubber gonna meet the road a whole lot.
Right.
So I would rather not deal with that, and I would rather have more peace than I had in my first marriage. So no.
All right. The Ingram experience. If you had the option to go ahead.
Good.
If you had the option to get married again within America, would you try to find a woman in America for cooperation, and also for marriage, or would you travel abroad?
Absolutely abroad. America, 1000% no. I would go overseas. I would consider from a culture. See, the thing about it is you can't erase what somebody's been programmed to be their whole life. And if you haven't been programmed to respect men or to be a wife, you're not going to change that at 30 or 25. You're going to be what's part of your social programming. My thing is I would pick a woman from a culture that respects men, preferably a country that's third world, not one of the first world nations in Europe or anywhere else, third world country. I think you have a better shot at getting a woman that's going to respect you and honor you and be a good wife.
Okay. All right. My man, Millennial Dad, what would you do? Travel abroad.
Same thing. Absolutely not here in America. I never was actually interested in the institution of marriage. I saw it early on as I seen guys in my family get taken advantage of through the court system. Turned me off very early on. As far as abroad goes, and really just studying culture and seeing how things go, I will say that I would be a lot more open to that. Obviously, I would want to spend more time abroad and really invest myself into an area that I like and actually get to know the culture, get to know the person I'm dealing with. And that could be something on the table. But as far as here goes, not interested.
He said nothing.
3 for 3.
3 for 3. We have 75%. How about you, Joe in the middle? You're currently married. Your wife is American, but if God forbid things don't work with you and your wife, would you look, some call it the trash can in America, but you travel abroad?
Well, I'm open to travel abroad, but to be honest, I believe that based on the type of man I am, I'm going to find the type of woman I deserve anyway. So even if, say, things go awry in my current situation, I see no problem trying to get that top 20% of women that are here in America.
You say you don't see an issue?
No, I see an issue with the majority, but like I said, I know there are women that like my current wife, she sees the BS and she's like, yeah, this ain't nothing good out here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I know there are women like that do exist here in America. You just gotta be able to find them, or they have to,
But it's hard to find.
Yeah, it's hard to find. That's the thing.
It's very hard to find. And about 40, 50 years ago, it wasn't hard to find. We went from having 26% of our children born in single-parent homes to damn near having almost 80%. That's crazy. 80% of children are born in single-parent homes. Over 60% are born out of wedlock. That's crazy. It's not only impacting the Black community, it's an American issue. Real quick, Solomon Low in Theory. We're gonna sign off. This show is so good. Oh my God, I could take this show for about 5 hours, but I gotta go. But I got a big mouth. What did you get from the show, Low in Theory? Real quick, how was the show beneficial? Starting with Low in Theory, then to Ingram, then to Millennial Dad, and then to Joel DeMillo. And I'm going to be filming when I'm once I land down in another country, guys. So, starting with Low in Theory. Go ahead, brother.
Well, it's beneficial for me to know that when we start talking about subjects like this, I can have intellectual conversations with other intellectual brothers instead of having the emotional back and forth that I see a lot of times on YouTube and within the manosphere. We get a lot of emotional volleyball happening, and then it just implodes into something that it was never meant to be. But to have a conversation with other intelligent brothers is always refreshing, and I can always count on coming to the Kosher Clinicians platform and getting to know some other intelligent brothers, no matter the subject that we're talking about. So that's always a plus.
Yeah, that's one of the things I enjoy, having the dialogue with intelligent brothers, different backgrounds, different experiences. But more importantly, I think having that coalition of men supporting men is what really matters, because a lot of time you see men, they go through issues alone, they suffer alone, they go through stressful situation alone with no one to talk to, because a lot of brothers are, if they're not, if they're winning, a lot of brothers don't even, some people don't care about, the suffering of other people as long as they're winning. But it's good for brothers to sit down and have conversations with each other, because there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to pass. I'm always learning. I'm learning from the younger brothers that are like on the panel, because we share experiences. And I think that needs to happen more. So I appreciate the Kosher for bringing us on, because like I said, men's issue is not relevant in America. That's why the suicide rate is so high with men. That's why guys are all depressed and suffering alone. So I appreciate these platforms, because it allows men to connect and share and pass information along to other men.
Yeah. Just to piggyback off you guys, not to be too personal, but about 5 years ago, I lost my dad. And my dad was, my rock. That was the guy that I looked up to. That was the guy who was, I tried to model myself after. And after I lost him, I was lost. I didn't have anywhere to go. I have an older brother, but he's about 2 years older than me, and we're kind of going through this same life experience together. He's a millennial dad just like me, so I couldn't really lean on him completely to get the knowledge, and I was out in the wilderness until I found a space like this. So this conversation is much needed. This space is much needed. I need guys like Low in Theory and Ingram and you, Kosher Clinic, and even to chop it up with Joel, because there are plenty of other guys like me who are out there lost, kicking the can of defeat, not even knowing that they're actually winning, because they put themselves together. So this is definitely needed for a guy like myself, brothers like Joel, and for us to chop it up and be able to sit at you guys' feet and get this knowledge.
No doubt, no doubt. Joel in the middle, especially for the young men, because I love the millennial brothers. They definitely need the baton being passed. And, I love my man Low in Theory. He's an intellectual. And also the Ingram experience. Go check out the Ingram experience on his YouTube channel. He believes in returning to the patriarchy. Go check out that brother on his YouTube channel, because he got some good content. Joel in the middle, what are you getting from this? What was your take? But before you tell me, shout out to MC Recovery Steps and show Marlon. Marlon at my job seemed to be more married to the system. I've seen this 14 years with the LA County Department of Mental Health. No doubt, brother. Shout out to you. Thank you, brother. And then shout out to my man, John C. Evans, for the $20 super chat. John is my homie. Him and I have talked in private. He's a good kid, a good man. He's a good man. And, he's been a recipient of my non-diagnostic clinical consultations. And I know it's benefited him. He's a good brother. And like I said, guys, I can help you get rid of these schema afflictions that you're having. I am a licensed therapist, and so it's not free, but you're not going to get this kind of knowledge in any other space. You're not going to get it, not from a licensed clinical therapist perspective. So salute to the panel of men discussing this such timely topic. Enjoy Brazil, Kosher. You deserve it. The work that you do, yes, brother, is much needed. And guys, Frustrated 3 will be coming out soon. We're going to be commemorating the death in the life of Charles Tyler, one of the first progenitors to try to get men to see what their options are outside of America. So thank you for that, guys. All right, so Joe, Joel in the middle, I want you to add to this, and then we're gonna sign off. I gotta go.
Yeah, before everything shuts down, everything you guys say is accurate, but I actually see coming danger.
Talk about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so not because of what you guys are saying, but because of the fact there aren't like 200,000-300,000 men watching this right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is why everybody watching this should share this. You know,
please
because
do share it.
I don't think there's enough. You know, I don't think there's enough men out there actually getting this message, and it needs to be out there. There needs to be 200,000-300,000 people watching this regularly. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But also, you touched on fake femininity earlier, and I do plan on making something where I actually talk about the dangers of Kevin Samuels and everything he's teaching. Not from the men's perspective, but for the women, because he's giving the game out. And for the men watching this, you need to be aware. Like you said, there are going to be women trying to fake it till they make it. So just be aware. You know, that's here in America and abroad, because, you know, China, first world countries all around the world are suffering, which is why I think someone earlier mentioned, you know, go for the ones in the third world countries or whatever. So it's like, be aware. Just be aware, you know.
I totally agree. To the 56 that are watching, please share this content. To the 56 that are watching, please share this content to at least 5 people. Help this channel get to 5,000 to 10,000. We're going to keep liberating young black men like Millennial Dad, and also Joel in the middle, and also men like Low End Theory and the Ingram Experience. We're going to continue to carry the torch. We're going to be the elders to help these young men get through the storm. They're going to be agitators. They're going to try to stop our movement, and that's okay. We're ready for it, because I got some fire for their mind too. And, you know, we're going to keep doing the things that are necessary to help move this conversation forward. I don't know how long these kind of platforms are going to be on air. There might become a time where I need to take this information and download and save it, because, like I said, there are many that infiltrate these spaces, and they're not genuine. They're agitators. They're not genuine. They seek to usurp the movement, and so I want you guys to be aware of that. There are some that are agitators that seek to usurp the movement, so I want you guys to be aware of that. Well, like I said, this has been a timely show. To the 53 that are watching, please hit 1 if you shared this content with at least one person. Please hit 1. I need everybody to hit at least 1 if you shared this content to at least 5 people. Please hit 1. Hit 1 if you shared this content, because this has been a great conversation. And then also, if there's a lady that would like to pop in for 1 minute and ask one of the brothers a question, feel free to do so. To the ladies that are listening, if you want to ask Low End Theory a question, Millennial Dad, Joel in the middle, or also the Ingram Experience, or even myself, the coach and clinician, feel free to answer a question, because there are some good women that are listening. We don't know what the percentage are. Many feel the percentage is low. But to the good women that are listening, I want you guys to ask a question too. Are modern women or Western women ready for cooperation and marriage? If they're not, then what is the solution to their own ignorance, their own problem? So, so to some of the women that are listening, I'll give you guys about 5 minutes, and we're about to sign off. Anybody else want to add to the conversation before I go? Anybody else got anything to add before I leave this conversation?
Well, other than the fact that, you know, what I always try to get to the younger brothers is, and we know the game out here, and I mean, the gentleman was just talking, the brother just talking about fake femininity. And what the younger brothers got to understand, like I said before, nobody takes care of you like you. And you always got to put the oxygen mask on first before you, that's what they say on the airplane, put the oxygen mask on first and apply it to other people. Because there's no point in you going down and then you can't save you can't save yourself, you can't save nobody else. And you have to make your happiness a priority. That's why when people ask me questions about marriage or single or whatever, I start talking about happiness. You know, because I'm a pro-happiness, anti-torture type guy. And if your life is torture, you need to get out of it. Whatever torture it is, whether it's marriage or being single, you need to do something about it. If you're not doing something about it, no one's going to care about your happiness. So get in groups, talk to the brothers, find somebody, catch up with the coach or clinician or me or one of the older brothers, because at the end of the day, you know, it's about passing that life experience on. You know, I'm learning from the younger brothers. Like I said, when the young men come over to the house, I learn from them because they teach me some terms and things that are out here that I have no idea, you know, all the apps, the latest apps. And I think, you know, that's what has to happen. The sharing and guys understanding about not being these lifelong altruists. It's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself and spreading, because like I said, happiness trickles down with me. And that's what I teach. Trickle down happiness.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Well, listen, guys, it's been a good one. This show was actually better than I anticipated. I only anticipated to do like an hour, but you know, I got a big mouth. I love to talk. And then when I get around intelligent brothers like Low End Theory, the Ingram Experience, Millennial Dad, thank you, brother, for always supporting the program, and Joel in the middle, it adds to the conversation. And guys, this platform can get bigger, but we need guys like you to share the content. So the guys on the platform, please share the content, but also go check out my man, the Ingram Experience. Go check him out because he's doing similar work as we're trying to empower our Black men to become better versions of themselves. So guys, it's been a good one. I'm about to sign off. Yes, sir. Go ahead,
I can, for you guys, what I found to make it easier for people to find your channels, after the video post, make a comment under the video so people can find you easier. It's a lot better that way.
Okay.
What do you mean?
So like after you end the YouTube video, you have, if your comments are turned on, they can go like the Ingram Experience and everything, because sometimes it's hard to find people's channels on YouTube. If you make a post in the comment section after the video, people can click on your profile and go to your channel.
Okay, gotcha. Makes sense. Makes sense. We'll do that, man. So guys, about to sign off. Got to get ready to rock and roll, man. This has been a great show. I'll probably be doing a show from Brazil once I get there too. You know, I ain't gonna stop just because I'm in Brazil.
Do it on the beach.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna get with Aaron Ferris, and I'll probably get with Al Greaves, man. So you guys get ready. Be tuned, because I'm gonna drop some more fire for your mind. Are you guys ready? Tell me if you're ready. If you're ready, tell me you're ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
You're ready. I'm gonna drop some fire for your mind.
Fire for your mind.
I'm gonna drop some more for you guys. And like I said, man, I look forward to this excursion. And I look forward to continuing to have dialogue in this timely milieu called America. So like I said, guys, about to sign off. Shout out to all the young brothers. Love you guys, man. We about to sign off. Thank you, Millennial Dad, for popping in, brother. Much love and respect. All right, blessings, guys. All right. All right. So, guys, I told you in the past that power never conceded to anything without a struggle. It never have and it never will. Shout out to my man Shannon Rawls for being so generous. Hopefully, Shannon, at some point, you can come in, man. Thank you for supporting me, brother. I will support you because that's what it's about. We're in this struggle together. We understand that men have egos and we don't like to lose, but we all are in this struggle together. And shout out to the Lapeef Network. Shout out to Lapeef Jr. Shout out to Chicago Rilla. Shout out to Anton Daniel. Shout out to the crew. We had a powerful show last night. Go check out Lapeef, the Lapeef Network. We had a good talk with King Talk. I had my man El Guapo on. Go check him out. Go check out my man Shannon Rawls. And like I said, these brothers are adding some good content. We are all talking similar ways, but from different perspectives. So it's been a powerful show. I look forward to more timely discussions. And like I said, guys, I love you guys. And, you know, we're going to liberate one brother at a time. And as I said before in the past, you know, the more we work together as men, the more we work to empower one another, the better the outcomes, because men have more power than they realize. And sadly, we have been conditioned to, once again, broker our power because we haven't had strong fathers. We haven't had strong men. We haven't had strong homes. And we have been conditioned to be subjects of others instead of loving ourselves. So we're about to sign off, guys. Love you guys. And we'll see you soon as I plan to land in Brazil.
keep God first. I see evil, when I converse. Not today, say. This how God works. Play my position, what is given with no concerns. Set it off. Top of the morning, I'm gonna set it off. You living boring, I'm gonna set it off. Shooting, I'm scoring, I'm gonna set it off. Like soldiers torn, I'm gonna set it off. Son of God, no, I am not son of man. Blessings keep falling, the fingers keep coming in. I got you, but you know I'm texting like Uncle Sam. Left to the bank, you know that I'm coming in. We don't do it for the bands though, we don't do it for the clout. Legacy on the line, so I'm moving in and out. Seen good ones turn top dog, greedy ones get knocked off. I keep looking at the bench like I could never not ball. Coach keep me in the game, Curry deadly with the range. I keep looking in the mirror like, who is he? I'm insane. Who am I? He insane. Guess I ain't the one to blame. What's done is done, won't change. Time to live up to my name. Real will be real, fake gon' fall. Took time with this here, I'm made for a while. No sleep in the while, I won't fall. No sleep in the while, I want it all. I keep God first. I see evil, when I converse. Not today, say. This how God works. Play my position, what is given with no concerns. Set it off. Top of the morning, I'm gonna set it off. You living boring, I'm gonna set it off. Shooting, I'm scoring, I'm gonna set it off. Like soldiers torn, I'm gonna set it off. Told my baby, meet me at the bank. Told my mama, I'ma break the trend. Locked in, I'ma change the weight. Working for my baby's kids. Hard times couldn't make the rent. Working hard couldn't save a cent. Lonely nights, just me and God. Swear to him, always made the ends. Grab a paper, see the news. Hate coming by the tools. Walk a mile in my shoes. Something you can never do. Got my back against the wall. Bet I always pull through. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Sending shots, I block 'em. Superman with the moves. Rock 'em, sock 'em, drop, pop 'em. Play to win, never lose. Run it up, I top 'em. Play full belly too. I hip hop or pop 'em. Anything I could do. The real won't be real, fake gon' fall. Took time with this here, I made for a while. No sleep in the while, I won't fall. No sleep in the while, I want it all. I keep God first. I see evil, when I converse. Not today, say. This how God works. Play my position, what is given with no concerns. Set it off. Top of the morning, I'm gonna set it off. You living boring, I'm gonna set it off. Shooting, I'm scoring, I'm gonna set it off. Like soldiers torn, I'm gonna set it off.
telling me she want to be my lover, yeah. I love you when she want to be my lover, yeah. My little baby girl rise on me. My little baby girl ride on me. Maria, Maria, Maria. Every time you're looking out for me. Every time you're looking out for me. Love you, yeah, love.
Everything go from Maria, yeah, yeah. Sensibility, yeah, yeah. Pretty girl like a Maria, Maria, yeah, yeah. Every time we meet up, every time be like, oh, Maria, Maria.
Every time you look up for me, every time you look up for me, every time you look up for me, every time you look up for me.
She no island girl, she from Kilimanjaro, Kiliman, oh. Nah, she no island girl, she from Kilimanjaro, Kilimanjaro.
My little baby girl rise on me, my little baby girl ride on me. Maria, Maria, Maria. Every time you're looking out for me, every time you're looking out for me. Love you, yeah,
Everything go from Maria, yeah. Sensibility, yeah. Pretty girl like a Maria, Maria, yeah. Every time we meet up, every time be like, oh, Maria, Maria.
now you want to spend more time with me. Do you want to be my wife, baby? I just want you in my life, baby.